Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah.
Hey-oh, now there's an angle.
Look at that.
That's an angle you don't get to see every day. Look at that. Here we are.
Hey, how we doing? We got Anthony getting an appearance today. How's everybody doing today?
Great, how about
You
you?
a little shell-shocked? Are you shell-shocked right now?
Oh, no. I want to shout out to them. I want to shout out to Ian. My man, he gave me this hoodie.
What is that?
I was,
Kenny Anderson basketball
Yeah,
showcase?
he really does the Kenny Anderson basketball showcase. We was in, I believe, Cuyahoga Community Jail. I think it's the county jail.
Okay.
Oh, you were there today?
That's where you guys met?
Last night.
Oh.
Last night from about 5 to 9.
You were speaking to some of the kids in
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was great, man. We spoke to the kids. They're not really, I guess, kids. I guess 14 to 22.
Yeah.
They're housed in different places,
Yeah.
but man, it was crazy. I was there 4 hours, and I was there. As you could tell, I was running my mouth and talking so much. But some of these kids, man, like good kids, you learn how many situations people be in, and they find themselves, doing tough time. I mean,
Where you at, Highland Hills? Off of Green Road?
yes,
Yeah.
over Quincy.
Are you on Quincy?
Quincy Road, yeah.
Okay.
And so I was there for 4 hours.
What are you saying to them the whole time? Like, what are they asking questions, or are you just talking?
Man, I'm just talking to them. So, I was just telling them and just pulling up on them, seeing their circumstances. Everybody in there is either convicted or charged with something bad, like manslaughter, murder, things like that. And some of these kids,
They be young, too.
they so young. A dude, I talked to a guy, and as we was just giving them advice about how to succeed, just business plans when they get out. Because when you get out, it's just like, okay, you're a convicted felon. You're young.
What do you do now?
What do you do now? And so we was just talking to some of the kids, and the guy came up to me and was like, yo, he was like, man, I really want to thank you. You gave me a lot of advice and just some, real solid stuff I could use. And they was like, yeah, I'm transferring to prison. So he moving, he already did 5.
Right.
He about to go, he got to do another 10.
Yeah, 'cause he aged out, right?
And I'm like, what? Just the fact that you got to do 10. And I'm looking at him, and you could tell the young dude is like kind of scared because now he going where the big boys is at.
Yeah.
He going where, and so I'm just telling him, look, man, you got to go in with a plan. Get your degree, get your education. And I said, you can't think of it like a 10-year bid. You got to think of it like you going in there to get something out of it. Like, don't let the time just go by. Because if you let the time go by, you're going to involve with people you shouldn't. No gang activities. Go in there, stay to yourself, find you a program where you could be in the kitchen, where you're doing some different things, maybe the wood shop, and just continue to build because they'll look at that and say, okay, you got some good behavior.
Got some skills.
We can take that and you may be able to get parole earlier. But man, a lot of those kids is doing tough time. But you'll be surprised. Some of their stories is like, wow, how you end up here?
Yeah.
How'd you end up here, man? It's so crazy.
We weren't planning on talking about that, but that's a great job out of you by doing that, and it probably meant a lot, and you probably made a difference. Not for every kid in there, sure, but it's probably at least a couple of
Man,
kids.
imagine having his positive ass come in and tell you, you'll be fine.
You're a great example.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I believe without, without getting too far into it, I think there's probably a small percentage of people that, like, have mental issues that are going to put them down a bad road. But I personally believe that the majority of kids, especially, that get in trouble, it has a lot more to do just with their circumstances in life. And it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse.
Right.
But if you grow up in poverty, if you grow up around gangs, it's harder to get away from that and make good choices than if you grow up
in a
with a
cul-de-sac.
silver spoon.
Yeah.
So
The one guy, it crushed me. He said he was there because his boyfriend or his mom's boyfriend was beating the crap out of her for years. Yeah. And unfortunately, he killed him. And
he went to jail for protecting his mom?
He got like 15 years.
For protecting his mom?
Yeah, 15.
That sounds wrong.
I know this is probably tactless, but on the way out of each of those meetings, did you tell them to watch the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show?
Actually, that's the first.
That's a captive audience. That's all I'm saying. They're not going.
The first thing they said was like, "Where will we find you?" I will give them credit because they weren't. I said, "Yo, I'll come back." I don't just want to show up one time. Like, there's a lot of things that I could give y'all, like, because I didn't start anywhere from like being big.
Right.
I just was like on the internet doing stuff. And I evolved into some of these things and it kind of blossomed. But the great thing about them is they do have a music program. I heard a guy rapping and he had a whole like demo. Mm-hmm. It's like he's fire. Like he's legit.
He's got stories.
UCSS intro song next year.
He is legit, man. And then they got a lot of different programs. Ian is a coordinator and he's gonna have Smush Parker come in.
Okay.
Was Kenny Anderson?
Kenny Anderson.
Was he there?
He wasn't there, but Kenny Anderson comes in and talks to the kids every year.
Mm-hmm. It's like his program.
Yeah.
He went to my rival high school, Kenny, I think. Are
you guys cool now, though?
No, not at the same time as me.
They knew somebody, Dennis Hobson.
Yeah, because they're all together. Kenny Anderson and Dennis Hobson,
Yep.
Real good friends.
They mentioned that. So, yeah, look, it was. It ain't the first time I'm going to do it. I just be passionate about it. So
good for you, man.
Kenny Anderson did not go to my rival high school.
Update: Kenny Anderson did not go to Bull's rival high school.
I knew he was from New York. I thought he went to Lincoln High, but that's a great job by you.
Stay in the community, G. Keep doing that, right? Because we do this thing every day, and there's another set of folk out here that always need some guidance. They don't get the breaks that some of us get out here, right? Yeah. And they just need a break, right? Right.
Just
some of them here have to clean up their act a little bit, but listen, I believe every soul is worthy of redemption.
Yep.
I don't know if they'd want me, but I'd be happy to go with you if you want me to.
Ian, they'd be happy to go because these people, you'd be surprised. These kids, they face lit up when you came in.
Yeah.
Because they don't got visitors, family members, nothing. Yeah. So for you just sitting down there, and then most of the time I'm just talking to them, like regularly, like, yo, this is, just about different things. And they ask really great questions because a lot of them are in there thinking about, okay, the questions, how I'm going to make it, what's my next steps, because, you get out and everybody talk about will stay out of trouble, but let you not be able to pay your bills.
Right.
You got a daughter or son that need milk. You ain't got no credentials. You didn't graduate. What you think people going to do? They're going to be right back to what got them there to start.
Right back on you.
So
right back on you.
Right back.
When people are in trouble, whether it's kids, adults, whatever, when you get in trouble, when you end up in jail, I mean, the world's a better place if we're helping the people in prison to improve their lives. So when they get out, I mean, but as long as we have for-profit prisons in America, which we do, it's going to always remain a problem.
What charitable things did you do last night?
I did nothing. I did nothing charitable. I feel very little, very small.
You set up an Xbox controller.
I did. I set up my son's second Xbox controller and played Madden with him. That was.
You spend some time with your son.
That's important.
He'll be a productive member of society.
I went to Gunselman's Tavern and I had a really good hamburger.
They have great burgers.
Yeah, they do.
Underrated burger joint, Gunselman's Tavern.
We had different evenings, but
yeah.
We all did stuff.
Good for you. That's a great job. And it's important to talk about these things in the holiday season. Obviously, this is our last show of 2022. It's been a treat for me and to work with all of you guys here. And we've had a lot of fun over the last, 8 months?
Yes. It don't even feel like 8 months.
Right?
I can't believe this has only been here 8 months.
I know. This is crazy.
In some ways it feels like longer. In some ways it feels like it just started.
Yeah. It does. Seems very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, unlike this interminable Brown season, which seems extremely long. Doesn't it seem?
Ever.
Yeah.
Just
but now we can't. Now I'm like, well, let's get to next year.
It is funny. Polk puts it in perspective like that. The Brown season's only been going on for half of UCSS.
Yeah.
I think back to May. That feels like yesterday.
Yeah.
September when the Jet season started.
Browns.
eternities ago.
Seriously,
Jets, by the
Eternities
way.
ago.
we experience time differently
Jets
depending
season?
upon how you
Well, 'cause the
perceive
Jets
that time
lost week two.
and the type of experience you're having during that time.
Yeah.
Since the Browns is so painful, obviously it feels like we have to endure it more.
Right.
Whereas our time that we've gotten to spend with each other over the last 8 months has been
Has
so
been
delightful
fun.
that it
Yes.
has flown by.
Have you ever noticed where it seems so clear what needs to be done? It's clear. I mean, to me, I look at it, it's clear to me.
Clear as day.
I might not know the every X, Y, and Z, but the parameters of it, I understand what it is. And sometimes I'm always wondered why people who are in the mix with it every day. They can't see it. I mean, they're oblivious to what's going on here, right? And then I tune around, I listen to, I try to fill myself with other viewpoints, right? And I'm hearing talk yesterday like, we're so disappointed in Watson. I'm like, you disappointed in Watson? What are you talking about? We're not even here yet. Mm-hmm. I mean, we just want progression here. I think you said it the other day, Adam.
Yeah.
The thing that we blinded ourselves by thinking that he was going to come out the can.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We
And
convinced ourselves no big deal.
It was unrealistic.
Yes.
It was very much unrealistic.
And he's playing better.
Right,
I
he's
mean,
playing
he
better.
continues to improve.
Right.
But to think there would be no rust after 23
Here's my
months.
question, though.
Shame on us for
How
thinking
did we
that.
really miss it that bad? I mean, weren't there other examples in history of quarterbacks who had this much time off? I know that we're homers.
Mike,
I know.
Mike, we're that thirsty.
Yeah.
It's been a long
but you guys
time.
are pros.
You know
You're
what?
pro. You should know better.
I should.
You should tell us.
And I thought there'd be some rust, but I didn't think there'd be. Listen, I think he's making his good progress, but I think we all thought it would happen like that. And part of it is it's not just him, right? Like you look at the statistics for last week, considering the weather conditions.
Yeah.
He played a pretty good game.
Right.
If Amari Cooper catches the ball in the end zone and they score a touchdown instead of a field goal, and then either DPJ or Njoku catch a touchdown that last drive, well, all of a sudden he's got 3 touchdowns.
And we're forgetting the misses.
And we're forgetting the misses, and it's like, well, he threw for instead he's thrown for 195 on and it would be less passes because they wouldn't have to throw as much on that last drive because it would have been a different score. Remember, he threw, I think, like 4. Everybody's talking about how much he threw last week. I think he threw 14 passes on that last drive, so he'd only thrown the ball 17.
He threw 17 passes when they were down by a touchdown.
Right.
And
so in fact, they had run the ball, I think, all on first down. They ran it on first down almost every time until the final 2 minutes of the game, except for 1 or 2 times.
And I know we're just this is the excuse parade right now.
Yeah.
We're letting them all out. Sure. But we can't just ignore the fact that one of those games was played on what was essentially the ice planet Hoth. Star Wars reference.
Right.
You're
yes,
welcome,
but
everyone.
again,
those were horrible conditions.
Considering the weather conditions, the lack of throws he made till the 2-minute warning, and the drops.
Right.
The more I think about it, Watson played a pretty good
The
game.
whole point is we can't look at this body of work. Anyone trying to look at this small body of work and pretend like it's representative or
no, this is small body where we won't see the real deal till next year. I mean, there's a lot of work that needs to go on between now and training camp next year because he's got a lot of work to do to get back. You just don't come back off the rip where you were. You got to work your way back. But I want to say this though.
Yeah.
And I was having this I was doing the Cavs game last night with Mike Steiner. I said, you know what dawned on me, G, was this. And I'm listening, we make every excuse in town. At some point, people have to be held accountable for the stuff, right? I'm a guy who's been around. I've been around. There's some coaches out here that can't coach talent. They do worse with better talent. They do best with mediocre talent because they elicit better production on it. Yeah. Guys who have better talent, coaches that have better talent, some of them don't know what to do with it. Now, I played for a guy at Ohio State, Eldon Miller, and that's who got Clark Kellogg to leave St. Joe to go down to Ohio State. And then Clark had a horrendous, what he felt like was horrendous time because they didn't play to his strengths, right? And I'm looking at Stefanski and I'm saying to myself, you may be better because the years he's had success, they've been with lesser people. Mm-hmm. You don't see no superstar. Every time you had somebody that was supposed to be a superstar, you got nothing. Odell Beckham. Mayfield looked like he regressed. Now it looks like he's a little resurgent. It's only been a couple games. Now I'm wondering myself when I watch Watson, I'm like, is it him?
That's the fear.
Or is it you?
That's the fear. The fear of it all is sometimes when you got coaches, sometimes when you can put a player and you simplify things and you get it and they're like, okay, cool, you're gonna run this and you're only gonna do this. It makes those lesser players look good because they're within the restraints, but there is no room for improvement. They hit a plateau, that's what they're gonna be. When you have a superstar, what superstars make you do, they make you get outside of your comfort zone. Because their skill set is something that's special that you can't just cookie cut.
You can't Madden it. It's not Madden.
You got to feel the best way to go about. It's like I would say it's like high school coaches, right? All around this country, high school basketball coaches are the worst coaches in the game. You know why? They'll get somebody over 6'5", and they'll be like, "You're a post player." Every player over 6'5" is not a post player. If LeBron James was not able to have the ball, or Kevin Durant was not ever having the ball, they would say, "You're too passive. I don't want my big guy shooting threes. Get down low and post up." No, that he has transcendent talent. That man is better than everybody. Don't put little Billy out there who's 5'10", and because he's 5'10", he's a guard. No, LeBron is everything on the court. And there's a lot of people that don't understand that because their knowledge and concept of the game is already.
I would argue, guys, that first of all, I don't know how Odell Beckham is rarely healthy since his early years with the Giants, and that factored into his time here. Now, his best stretch was certainly the playoffs with the Rams last year. Was his best stretch because when he first went to the Rams, he wasn't putting up big numbers. He did have some touchdowns on a significantly better offense, an offense that won the Super Bowl with a quarterback that was playing at a Hall of Fame level, playing next to a wide receiver that was playing at a Hall of Fame level. And with the Browns, he didn't have that. Now, I think Odell Beckham's failures ultimately in Cleveland, yeah, I could put some blame on Kevin Stefanski. I think I could also put some blame on Baker Mayfield. I think I could also put some blame on Odell Beckham. I don't think Odell Beckham gets a pass completely for his time in Cleveland. His catch, he dropped a lot of balls here. He was much worse at dropping balls here than he was with the Giants or the Rams.
I've always fought against this. Statistically, Odell Beckham Jr. had 2 drops while he was here. That's just what the stats say. If I'm going to believe in stats,
I don't know.
If I'm going to believe in analytics and stats, I got to believe what the stats tell me. The stats say he dropped 2 balls. Second of all, I had a problem with everybody else having a problem with showing the fact that he was open. So, why would you be mad? People are like, he should have never said he was open. Well, no, that showing you are open is showing I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
It's either the coach or the quarterback.
I want to say this here.
They wanted to handle that.
The point I made was this.
Yeah.
It's not. This don't take away from Stefanski being a nice person. He's probably a nice guy. There are some coaches out here that cannot survive, cannot coach well with talent.
I just don't think we know that yet.
Yeah, I know it very well.
He hasn't had enough talent. They've had Nick Chubb. He's coached Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb has played great.
That's one person. I've been around.
Who's the other stars
here.
he's had?
I'm just saying here. Listen to what I'm saying to you. There are coaches that cannot coach
I agree with you.
Talent.
But
they have one
that's
coaching.
Where's the proof for Stefanski? I don't think
the proof is in the pudding here.
It's win-loss.
This is win and loss here.
But he's got a winning record with nothing but bad quarterbacks.
I don't consider here. That's the difference between you and I. I don't consider 24 and 22 a winning record. It's nothing.
Well, but
that's nothing to me.
How many coaches do you think would have a much better record over the last 3 years with the Browns?
A ton.
A ton.
Come on,
a ton.
I give you 10.
Can I present just a number to the equation real quick?
Yeah.
And I had no idea. I just looked this up.
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked at this. How many games last season do you think Odell Beckham Jr. had at least 75 receiving yards?
In the regular season?
Regular season and postseason.
How many games did he play?
I would say 3.
How many
He played for the Browns real quick. He played 1, 2, 3. He played 6 games with the Browns, and he played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 games with the Rams.
He didn't put up big yardage with them. No, I'd say 3.
G?
5.
I'm going to go 2.
G, you're right. 5. 3 of those came with the Rams, 2 of those came with the Browns.
Yeah, he didn't put up. He was scoring more touchdowns with the Rams.
He did score more.
But
I'm
that's
just
because he was
saying.
on a much better offense.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
so I'm
he
just
wasn't.
saying.
He wasn't
Playing
playing
across
like
the Cooper Cup.
He was better on the Rams, definitely.
Yes.
But he wasn't playing like a star on the
so
Rams.
humor me.
Yeah.
What if I'm right? What if Stefanski cannot elicit? Here's the problem when you have better players. You have to coach less. It's different how you coach. Now I'm giving you counsel because I have to rely on the fact that you've got talent and you're going to be able to make some plays. And it's uncomfortable for people because I'm not.
This is not basketball, Brandon.
No,
it's not the same. You
Adam,
call
the same. The
plays.
coaching,
It
is
is.
coaching.
It's not the same.
It is
It
the
is
same.
Why- so
It
let me
is
show
the
you how-
same.
Let me show you this. If you got an elite quarterback, it's the same.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning, he called whatever you want to call. Run, pass, whatever it is.
He has the ability. A play will be called, and then Peyton can change it if he wants.
So-
which I'm sure Watson will have the same thing.
Here's another thing too.
Yeah.
You also have a quarterback who's seeing the field the different way. He can come in and say, "Hey, with our plan, our scripted plays, them ain't gonna work today. We
But
need
gee,
to go
you're
to."
saying that as if Deshaun Watson's not allowed to do that. I don't think that will be the case.
Well, here's what we're saying.
Yeah.
His autonomy and what he's able to do is way different from what a Jacoby Brissett would be. Jacoby Brissett, when he gets to the line of scrimmage, it's run that play.
Right.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield,
Run that play.
Run that. Don't
Right.
you be
But
audible.
But you're saying as if Stefanski hasn't let Watson do that. A, we don't know, and B, it's only been 4 games.
Is your concern more one of attitude that he isn't someone who inspires his players?
Oh,
Is
I
that
think-
the concern?
I think that's obvious.
But I'm saying, is that the main concern,
Well,
or is it his inability, or is it his inability to inspire?
Mike, I think it's an ability to elicit top performance out of people is obvious.
So that's
If
inspiring.
you've been in sports, you know it. I mean, it's real clear. Either you have it or you don't have it, right? You don't.
But you said, Bray, you said he can't coach superstars. He hasn't had many superstars.
I'm
Who has he had?
telling you what I see from.
But
from
I'm trying
what
to understand it.
Well, I'm trying to give it to you.
And I'm saying we've had improvements
trying to
by
give
the
it to you.
offense. Yeah.
My eyesight tells me
Yeah.
that he does not. He works better with lesser talent. That's
But
that's
who's
my
the great talent that has failed under him? I'm trying to understand that.
So let me give you this.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at the statistics,
Yeah.
Jarvis Landry was better under Freddie Kitchens. Odell Beckham Jr. was better under Freddie Kitchens. Nick Chubb, 2 years in a row, we talked about Nick Chubb not getting the ball
Well,
the
here,
whole half of the
but
season.
Odell didn't play a full season under
Let me tell you this.
And
I-
Jarvis
throw-
Landry's
throw-
slowly
throw
getting
this in here.
older.
I want you to throw this in here.
Yeah.
They just wasted Kareem Hunt.
Kareem
they
Hunt
wasted
was
him.
a no-show.
They wasted him.
They just
I don't understand. Kareem Hunt's a number 2 running back. What do you want to do? How much do you want to
They
play him?
wasted the talent of Kareem
they didn't
Hunt.
even try to use him
But
in
you even
conjunction.
agreed with me that he has clearly lost a step.
But
it
here's
seemed pretty obvious this year.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
That's like being like, well, my car didn't start, but you didn't have it in the garage for 2 summers.
Right.
You gotta use it, bro.
But they did use him. He played plenty the last couple of years.
no, he
Gee,
didn't.
how many you
No,
had
he
Nick
did
Chubb?
not.
How many carries
So
did you expect him
we
to get?
we talked about Chubb and Hunt in the backfield multiple
We will
times.
see when
Chubb and Hunt had more carries than any
we will
backfield tandem in the
see-
league.
I'm talking about
this year.
I'm talking about in conjunction
same
in the
time beings, I
backfield
think.
the same time. You use it. It was popular. They get 7 yards. They leave it alone. That's unequivocal. That's facts.
That's an argument. Whether you should use them together or not is a fair argument, and I agree with you. I would like to seen it, but in total, they did play a lot, and they combined for more carries than any running backs in the league. That's a fact too.
Here's what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at when you look at Kevin Stefanski,
Yeah,
a 500 record or being decent,
that's not good enough.
25-23 is not a good record. That is not championship level.
No,
No.
agreed.
And-
It's got to be better.
And so,
it's-
much better.
It's mediocre.
Agreed.
It's what it
Agreed,
is.
guys.
It's mediocre.
Okay,
Right.
but he's had mediocre
But
talent at
here,
quarterback.
let me tell you something.
He's had worse
Would you call this quarterback situation ideal this year for him? I mean, that's not a
this is what
great
I hate about
situation.
this is what I hate about this
Yeah.
town, right? Call a spade, right? I played for a coach. Let me tell you what the Bulls did, Adam.
Yeah.
We went to the Eastern Conference Final, 1 game away from playing the Lakers in the championship. 2 weeks later, they fired Doug Collins. You out of here. Why? Because they felt like he couldn't get us over
And
the
how
hump.
many years did he have Michael Jordan before that happened?
How many years? 3 years that I was there.
Okay. Well, they don't have Michael Jordan.
but-
Now they do.
Hold on.
Now they do.
No. You missing my point again. My
Yeah.
point is organizations
Right.
have to have the pulse.
Right.
The fingertip on the pulse, right? And if it doesn't pop, don't cloud yourself to be like, well, I'm getting this is another year.
You could have said the same thing about the Bengals after 2 years with Zach Taylor. Every Bengal fan wanted him fired. Now he's a genius. They go, why? Because he got Joe Burrow. He's not a better coach.
So,
he got Joe Burrow.
Let me ask
the same team that got to the Eastern Conference Finals, right?
Yeah.
Is the same team that ended up winning the championship.
Right.
It wasn't no more additions coming, right? There was the same players, right?
Right.
What Phil did came in and said, listen, I'm going to give you, Scotty, and you, Mike, and Horace some more autonomy. I'm going to sit here. Where Doug was trying to manage everybody's goal. This is what you do. You got to fit into this slot.
You're assuming that Deshaun Watson's not going to have any autonomy, and I'm assuming that's not the case.
All I'm assuming is what I see.
But what do you see?
I don't see much.
So you want him fired? You want him fired?
I want him gone.
For sure. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I don't want him fired.
Right.
The scenario that I see before my eyes, Mike, tells me that there needs to be a change coming. Right?
Okay.
I'm not a guy that just wants to make a change for a
celebrating
change.
it, right?
Yeah, but that's all the Browns have done is make change.
But sometimes,
for 50
Adam,
years.
when you're the CEO at the top, you have to make a change.
I think in the end, for me, okay, and I've been the first one in this town for years screaming, fire this guy, fire that guy, always. I wanted Hugh out, I wanted Judd out, I wanted Shermer out, I wanted them all out. And with Stefanski, do I think Stefanski's an elite coach? I don't. But I don't think there's that many elite coaches.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of coaches get better as time goes on. Now, I think Kevin Stefanski's good enough. And I think working with Watson and having Watson for a full year, he will be good enough and he will do a good job and he will turn it around next year. Obviously, I could be wrong. None of us know that for sure. If I thought there was a clear answer for a better head coach, I would definitely be open to it, but I don't think there is.
So I'm not speaking totally with Watson.
Yeah.
There's the management or the organization. He has failed to manage Joe Woods in the defense. He's failed to be the CEO of this team.
That's fair.
He has.
That's
right?
fair.
It is time. Here, let me tell you something. It is time that if you want to be, because you have a small window here.
I don't believe that. I think that's getting talked about a lot. I think
Chubb window closing.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. They're going to win a championship based on Deshaun Watson. That's the bottom line.
No. You can't boil it down to that. You can't boil it down to that.
No, but here's my point, G. When you have a quarterback like Deshaun Watson, if your team is smart around him, now it's fair to argue the Browns are not smart around him, I mean in terms of management. But if you have a good team, if you have a good organization, and you have an elite quarterback, which I believe Deshaun Watson is and will be by next year, your window should never close as long as he's playing at an elite level. That doesn't mean you don't have to have good talent around him.
But the opportunity is always there.
The opportunity should always be there for you to win as long as you have an elite quarterback. So it shouldn't be a 3-year window.
If you make the necessary moves.
Yes, absolutely.
And guess what? They have shown that they are not even competent about making those necessary moves.
So are we getting rid of the entire organization now, except Deshaun Watson, and rebuilding around him and Jimmy Haslam?
I think this front office is not a failure, but it's not great. I think it's in the middle.
I'm asking for calls of action.
I'm not even into the front. Here, the calls of action, the coaching staff got to go.
Okay, just
straight up, as a player, they got to go, right? They got to go. Right?
GM stays.
I won't even get to the front office.
Okay.
I'm just staying right here on the field from what my eyes show me and tell me, right? And my league, my knowledge of being around somebody that knows how to elicit that out of people. He does not have it.
I told people, you go back and rewind every single tape I said, and I told Kevin Stefanski this last year. You said it was Odell Beckham. You got rid of him. We rode with you. We then said you shouldn't play Baker Mayfield because he's hurt. Guess what? You said it was Baker. You got rid of him. Now, guess what? You got this year. If you're a fool if you think you're not next up on the evaluation timetable.
He is.
So my thing is this, and guess what? He has not made the moves necessary to say that he is completely all in on winning. Because I always say it, and people can't refute it. They give him passes for it. To me, it is almost an fireable offense based on him having Joe Woods still in the locker room teaching something. That's fireable in its own.
I think that's the most egregious failure by the Browns, is that they haven't already made changes to the other coaches.
Well, is that Stefanski's call?
I assumed it was, although we were just hearing from who told us they think it might not be. I don't know.
Here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Is it me or is my eyes lying to me? Right. His players are slowly defecting on him. the shenanigans with Myles Garrett last week, that was a de facto. Yeah, okay.
Screw you.
Screw you. That's what that was. That's what that was. That's what that was.
And as a player,
Was it? Do you know that? Like, do we have that?
No,
On?
I'm just saying what I.
That's the way it seems. Yeah.
It appears that way, but
It does.
That's nothing someone told you or anything.
well, here's what I'm gonna say about that. When you get to be a player and you frustrated,
Yeah. You start acting out.
and you, there's no recourse.
You start acting
These
out.
guys, it's no accountability for what we running or calling. I'm busting my tail out here. I'm hurt, and these stupid game plans keep coming up every week. Everybody in my community is like, "Why don't you guys make adjustments?" You got coaches saying it was hard because players went. When people make comments like that, that means you're incompetent. And when people are over you that are incompetent, the only way you get people's attention is to start acting out and doing stuff. I ain't showing up to that. Why am I going to show up to that? We all talk about it. If you want accountability in your building, if you want players to play hard, they got to know that they got the same energy for the players as the people you put on that staff.
There's some accountability here. So when you talk about real accountability in professional sports is this, right? You have to hold people accountable. Now you look around this league, and how many people got snatched out of prominent positions?
Hack it.
Because
halfway through the year, get up out of here.
It wasn't going right, right? That's the only thing they understand. What do you mean it's me? Oh, it's
Bye.
you out.
Speaking of
Easy.
accountability, though, don't the players have some accountability to play as hard as they can, regardless, or they got to pout like this?
Mike. Players have to be managed, right? When you're making $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, I ain't listening to what you talking about. Only thing I understand
That sounds
is that
like a you problem.
it ain't a you problem.
You have to
This
prove
is how it works.
You have to prove-
We not in. This not Ohio State anymore.
have to
Yeah,
prove-
I mean, listen, it is.
That's one guy.
Okay, I'm just saying
Myles
people are
Garrett was
capable of it.
Myles
of not
Garrett.
pouting.
I said before I mean I think highly of Myles Garrett. I don't like the way he handled the situation. I think he's made two bad decisions this year with the reckless driving and this situation. He was held accountable.
Yeah.
I think it's very fair to argue that Joe Woods has not been held accountable. I think it's a fair argument. I think that's the biggest. That I think.
And I mean, it's just and for you, why? Can you tell me why?
I
is
have
he
no
still
good
here?
answer.
Would you tell me why he is still here?
I think
Why Joe
Mike
Woods is
Lucas
still here?
might have the answer right back there because
What's
he has
up,
a
Mikey?
place that has all the answers.
I don't know. It's
I
a
have
good
a
discussion.
sheet that may tell us the answer. We're going to bring
Won't be the
DeQuell in
last
here.
time. Good debate, guys.
And as we bring in DeQuell
Yeah.
with this, we're going to remind you guys that our Browns Talk is sponsored by Cuyahoga Community
There it
College.
is. There it is. That was
got
better.
it right. Look
Last
at
time in
that.
2022, how to do it right. Tri-C supports their students financially, professionally,
right.
and personally, opening up doors of endless possibilities, including why they're not being held
The
accountable.
biggest jewel
Tri-C
in the
is where
county.
the future starts, and it starts right now. Classes begin January 17th, 2023. And DeQuell, welcome back. What's up, dude?
DeQuell, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, fellas?
How are you?
My
up?
boy
What's up?
DQ, what's up, baby?
Oh, nothing much, man. Getting ready for the holidays. That's all.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. You know, I'm actually walking without the crutch right now, so I'm in the boot. So every day gets better with this Achilles. And Christmas was great. My son had a great time. All he cares about were Beyblades. I don't know if you guys know what the heck that is, but
Oh, yeah.
some
Yeah.
toy that spins around.
Oh
Yeah, I had that. I bought that for my son a
He's
few years
great.
ago.
I don't know what
Guys,
your
I have to. Can I interject myself really quick? Because I
Yeah.
heard the conversation
That's
about.
a nice hat you got on.
Oh, appreciate it. I'm getting ready for the Duke Mayo Bowl this evening.
Yeah, 12 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah. So I mean, the whole Kevin Stefanski argument. Brad, I understand what you're saying, but I also have to side with Bull on this one. I think you keep him. I don't think he has done anything to have. Anything he's done up until this point is a fireable offense. I mean, you look at this year as a mulligan. You look at everything that he's had at quarterback. You look at all the things that the biggest overall reason to me is just that guy right here, Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
This was a collective effort this was an organizational pick in terms of the head coach, GM, ownership to say, you know what, we're going to bring a guy in that we think you can work with. So just by the mere fact that Deshaun Watson is here, they're not going to blow everything up. I think what needs to happen before we get to Kevin Stefanski and him being and seeing whether or not he's the right man for the job, I think you have to look at the defensive coordinator standpoint. I think there's a pecking order. Obviously, the defense underachieved mightily this year on top of, having guys off the street play linebacker and all these other different external factors. I think you got to start there. I think, without a doubt, in my opinion, Joe Woods, even though I hate to have a man lose a job, but he's not the guy for the job. He's not coaching inspiring football. He's not having his assistants do the job. So I think clean slate on the defensive side of the ball. Now when you get that fixed and you adjust it, and if things don't work out, now you have to start to work your way up the ladder and say, you know what, Kevin, you keep swinging and missing. It's not working. But I don't think we're there just yet. I think right now with the defense underachieving, we're going to have to see full off season with Deshaun Watson, Amari Cooper. They're already talking about getting together in the off season. So, and the whole Deshaun Watson, I just think this experiment needs another year for us to make a definitive answer whether or not Kevin Stefanski.
Go ahead,
I will say this
because I want to ask DeQuell something too.
So my thing is, in my heart of hearts, do I think they get rid of Stefanski? No. For some of the reasons that you just named. But Kevin Stefanski, in my opinion, has set himself up to lose credibility. He has set himself up to give himself a more difficult time than needs to be. For me, I'm confused why you wouldn't be proactive as a head coach to get your other guys to buy in and say, look, when I say this ain't acceptable, our goal is Super Bowl. What we doing on defense is for lack of better terms, piss poor. And I don't care if you're my brother over there, if you're my cousin or my mama over there coaching. That ain't good enough. We can't do it.
You're going to fire your own mom?
Yes. A heartbeat. Bye, Mom. Bye. You're not doing the job. See, I want to win.
Thanksgiving so awkward.
I want to win at the highest levels. I don't care about nothing else.
Yes.
Ever. That's all I care about. So if you're not going to be there to get me there, I need to show my players that if you ain't in your gap, I will fire you too. If you're not doing what you're supposed to do, I will get rid of you too. And so for me, when you let them sit there, in a way, ain't that really you throwing games? If you know somebody's over there and you can't win and your offense is great, ain't that like literally putting your head and saying, I'm going to imagine this isn't happening and I wait to handle it when it's more convenient?
Yeah, that's the Cleveland way. All right.
You know what? Listen, I don't disagree with anything you said. I think it's all, I've seen, teams orchestrate that in a different manner. Like for instance, when I was in with the Colts in I almost said New England, Indianapolis, Chuck Pagano. If you ever met Chuck Pagano is the nicest guy you ever meet. He doesn't allow any of his coaches to scream. And the way they constructed the coaching staff was my defensive coordinator at the time, he was a screamer. He was a guy who played in the league for 11 years. He played linebacker for 11 years, been a coordinator throughout his career. He was credentialed, so all of us players gave him instant credibility. So Chuck would let him do his thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so he did his thing, and Chuck kind of delegated. I think what Kevin Stefanski needs to do, and we've talked about it before on this show, he spends so much time with the offense. I think hearing the fact that, his defense had underachieved when we all thought, just by namesake on paper, that this side of the ball would have been exponentially better. I think you have to be clued in to, when you go self-evaluate yourself after the season, what do I need to do better as a head coach? Well, I know for a fact as a player, if I saw my head coach in a meeting, in a position meeting room, or the room where the defensive coordinator is going over the new install, it brought a new level of sense of accountability. Yeah. I think he has. I don't know if he's not doing that. Clearly, he's not doing that because it would raise the level from a coaching standpoint, player standpoint. I think he has to relegate his time a lot better to get through. If he's going to be the offensive play caller, you got to figure out ways to divide yourself up and make sure every side of the ball is doing what they need to do. Fair. But I think in this case, Kevin Stefanski, I get it. He has to take the brunt of the blame, and rightfully so. But if you go hire somebody who is a head coach in a sense, in a coordinating role, I think that alleviates some of the pressure that he has to spend with that side of the group. I think they got to figure out that. I'm a little sensitive to just blowing everything up, because I went through so many head coaches, and it's so difficult to relearn a new system and a coaching philosophy, and guys get moved here and there, and it's just here we go again type of situation where it's revolving doors at the head coaching position. But I do think next year, if we're having the same conversations about this team underachieving, then it's unequivocally, in my opinion, it's time for him to get out of here.
Hey, DeQuell,
we're all on the same page on that.
let me come at you a different way on this. I want your take on it, right? So there are some organizations, in sports do this, right? They don't wait. They don't pull the trigger. When they see something that don't look right, they go make a move about it, and whether you agree with it or not, right? We have a tendency in this town to just keep waiting and talking about next year. There are some things about Kevin Stefanski that should be occurring. I know you see that they're not occurring. When does it become a problem? Because it's a problem.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Brad. I mean, listen, I would love to play for an organization who, if they saw some, a kink in the armor, you know what, let's make a move now before it gets worse. It sends the message to the rest of the players, the entire organization. We're about winning and winning only. If we don't think you're in that equation, then we get rid of you. We move on.
Because DeQuell, this thing with Miles is slipping away here.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah,
and it probably comes to a button head in the locker room because Miles is probably expecting something to occur, and it's not occurring. This is the pushback you get from players in unobvious ways to the fans, the things that go on behind the locker room that they don't see. And this is what I'm reading underneath the surface.
To Brad's point and to your point, I think you were alluding to this already. It feels like the Browns need like a Wade Phillips, like that. Whatever. Like, they need a veteran defensive coordinator. Joe Woods is a young guy. They need a veteran defensive coordinator who hopefully has been a head coach, whether it's Mike Zimmer or Wade Phillips type or Brian Flores. We talked about that earlier this week. Like, they need a guy who's going to come into that defense, who has head coaching experience, who's going to be respected by the players, and has got to be kind of a kick-ass guy because the Browns, they don't have that killer mentality on the defense, it seems like. Right? So they need that type of guy, don't they?
That only makes sense because if the head coach is play calling, he's spending. I think you guys had Mary Kay Cabot on earlier this week, and I saw a little bit of that show, and she talked about her conversation she had with Deshaun Watson and about is there anything that he noticed about Kevin Stefanski that he didn't necessarily already know, and her response was, Deshaun said he was surprised that the head coach spent so much time in the position groups on the offensive side of the ball. That there alone lets you know, again, you need to go hire a veteran guy, as you alluded to, Bull, that has, head coaching ability that, you can, it's like a prime time back in the day. Deion Sanders, you didn't worry about that side of the field. If you go out and get a Wade Phillips or someone to that capacity to run your defense, essentially you can do the same thing. You know what? I don't have to worry about it. He's going to take care of that defense. Obviously, you want to, put your imprint on it and be around. But for the most part, if you're play calling, you need a veteran guy that can handle that side of the ball so you don't spread yourself thin. Yeah. But again, who is that guy? Brian Flores, you mentioned this a great situation. I can think of some guys who were a guy named Billy Davis. He's a linebackers coach with the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah. He's one of the smartest guys I've ever been around. Ray Horton is another guy that comes to mind. I know he's been with the Browns.
I remember him.
Two previous hits. He's probably one of the smartest guys I've ever been around. But here's the most important thing. He can coach personalities. Like the Myles Garrett's, whoever walks in the building, he can coach a personality. And so the other guys fall in line. So that to me is the biggest caveat of it all. You can go out and get someone, but if you can't coach the big personalities, then we're wasting our time.
Hey, DeQuell, just answer, and we were talking about this earlier before you got on. Some coaches can't coach talent. You know that, right? The more talent they get, the worse it is for them because they feel like they're losing control because the more talented people, they're spontaneous, right? And you have to sit back and ride with them. I see that out of Stefanski. I don't see him flexible enough to be able to sit there and take that, right? Because you got to sit there and take it.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's very important to identify that from a GM standpoint to say, you know what, he isn't the guy that can just galvanize everyone. But if you like what he does from an offensive standpoint, how do you pick up the slack, right? So you go out and get other guys who knows how to motivate talent, who from a position standpoint, it's no different than on the football field, where you have guys at every level. Some guys lead in different by example, as opposed to standing in front and rah-rah speeching and all those type of things. So as an organization, I've always been clued into, you know what, if you don't have the guy if you have leaders who lead by example, you need one or two guys that can lead by motivating, by getting underneath for guys behind and telling them the truth. And you know what, we need you, or you need that type of guy.
Like DeQuell Jackson. Like DeQuell Jackson.
To that point, DeQuell, like, how do you handle a situation like in a perfect world when you were on the Browns? Like, you were, if not the best player on the defense, you were one or two best players on the defense the entire time you were here. So, like, we want, like, in a perfect world, it seems from an outsider's perspective, I'd want my best players to be the leaders. But Myles Garrett is obviously the best player on the Browns, but he's a different cat. Like, he doesn't seem like that rah-rah guy that's, like, screaming at everybody. And what the hell are we doing out here? I don't know. So, does somebody else have to take that role? Can he develop into that, or is it just like, is that just not who he is?
Yeah, that's not who he is. Yeah. If we hadn't seen it, if we're still talking about it at this point in his career, that's not who he is.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, it's very hard to be in that position because a lot of times when I was there with the Browns, and even with the Colts, guys didn't like me. They couldn't tolerate it. You know, and they learned to love it because I was consistent. Because I was working harder than everyone else, and I demanded you work equally as hard. And so it's very hard to do that. And so to the Myles Garrett point, he's not that. And so any other guy that's in that locker room, I think Anthony Walker was a voice, a different style of leadership that could, work with the linebackers in a sense, but that's what they're lacking. And it's so hard to identify someone that has the courage to say, Myles Garrett, you got to stop jumping these guys, like to hold him accountable. And I think Myles Garrett is that leader who would be willing to defer to someone else, knowing that they were a playmaker, knowing that they were consistent, knowing that they were going to work their butts off every single day, just as hard as, if not harder than him. So I think that's the caveat of it all. There's a lot of inexperience on this defense particularly, and a lot of guys that don't know each other in the last probably month of football, especially from the linebacker standpoint, who are they're picking guys up off the street.
So you've got guys that are when you talk about coaches, right? There's different styles, and it depends on what your personnel looks like. So when you look at, you brought up Deion don't be coaching. Deion be motivating, right? His staff he took to Colorado, he wouldn't got coaches around him to handle his position. His job is to motivate the group and hold them accountable, right? Can Stefanski make the swap? Because the team needs to be managed. It needs to be managed, right? It don't need to be coached by him on the offensive side. He got to manage too many things. There's too many things that he needs to manage on a daily basis here. And he has to trust that other people are going to be able to do that. Now, like Joe Woods, he can't get it done. I mean, he'd be the first one out of here, right? And in any other position that can't get it done, does he have the strength within him to make those calls and say, can't do that, gotta go? I don't care how nice, you my friend, you my cousin, I got it.
That doesn't matter,
That's fair. I think Kevin Stefanski is doing what he thinks he does best, is calling plays. And I think everyone would agree his management could be a lot better with this entire team. And if you strip that title from him, if he goes out and gets an offensive coordinator, now what is he doing? I don't think anyone wants him to coaching and motivate. I don't think that's his strong suit. That's his strong set. But, I mean, what do we have? I mean, they made a long-term investment in Deshaun Watson, so they're going to see this through at least for another year, just to see what style of offense we're going to run, because that's a whole other ballgame.
Are we sure Tito can't coach football as well? I mean, the baseball's over, and then he can just come in.
Right.
DeQuell, I got a question for you about football this week. This is the first game that these Browns are going in knowing that they are statistically eliminated for certain from the playoffs. Not to bring up old stuff, but you had a few of these games where you went in knowing that you were statistically eliminated from the playoffs. How's the mentality different? And I don't think it's fair to go by you because of, what you are, but the mentality of the locker room typically of people not like you. What was it like going into a game like this? And I mean, I know that might not hold true with every team, but from your experience.
No, it's a great question because you hold your breath, because guys know they're out of playoff contention. You only have a handful or 2 games left. And guys are looking at what they're doing in the offseason right now. I'll just call a spade a spade. It's so hard from a leader standpoint, from a coach standpoint, to try to motivate these guys to go out and play within the scheme. There's going to be a lot of big plays. There's going to be a lot of missed assignments. It's just the nature of the beast because you strain for so long, and then you finally realize, you know what? I'm just playing for my reputation. I'm playing for my name on my back. Now, front office is looking at who are the guys who's going to be able to compartmentalize going out and playing really good, solid football from an individual standpoint. I know for me personally, I had to lock in because I wasn't the fastest, tallest, strongest. I understood my situation. So for me, that was a moment for me to always stand out. But a lot of guys can't take that mentality, and it's like I said, it's going to be rough. We've seen some bad football out of this team. Hopefully, offensively, Deshaun Watson, he's motivated because he's trying to show a glimmer of his old self from, to justify this big contract. So it's going to be a lot of moving pieces, and it's not an easy situation to play in, be a coach or a player.
This got brought up yesterday. We and Bull was talking about it. People looked at me crazy. They was like, hey man, you got some trade assets. The only one you got is Nick Chubb. Now I do things to do. I'm tongue in cheek about a lot of different things, but I will say this: I've heard you and Leroy and Didi and Tim and everybody say in the media, hey, $230 million. It's about getting Watson together. It's about getting him tightened up. It's about him. If you got him, you got a chance. Well, I'm looking around at some of the pieces and parts. And if you're going to have 230 and you got the Lamborghini out there, he needs some shoes. He needs some rent. And no liability insurance. You need full coverage on that. You know what I'm saying? Don't not get the windows tinted and soup that thing up. And I'm looking
the rims.
at
What about the rims?
the Pirellis. We gotta get the Pirellis. You know what it is?
All the things.
All of the fixings. So I'm looking at his weapons, and I need me another piece. Yeah. Do you believe the Browns are going to put the priority on defensive tackle, which they need one in a worse way? But doggone it, if you want to see the best of Deshaun Watson, I feel you need another toy. You need for us to make it look right.
You need a toy.
A DJ Metcalf and put him with Cooper and DPJ. And now Stefanski, you can't screw that up. There ain't no possible way.
Don't put that in the air.
Throw that out there. What you think?
No, you're exactly right. If I had a choice, as much as I love beefing up the defense side of the ball, I think you have to make the investment towards your $230 million investment. I think you need a slot receiver. You need another chain mover. That third down, guy in the slot that can get open and cause, confusion for a nickelback in defenses. So I think you have to address it because $230 million, as you said, he needs some toys. He needs great insurance, as you said. So I think they make a play. Obviously, defensive tackle is a huge priority, but you're going to have to get some weapons, some speed on that offense to help Deshaun Watson. And I think we're going to see a completely different offense next year. Give him the time in the offseason, and hopefully it helps. Nick Chubb. We don't run him into the ground, so we see the best of his years to come, and we don't run him to the ground. So it's going to be interesting to see how this draft unfolds and what this team identifies as being a weakness or how they can help themselves.
DeQuell,
I agree with you.
I'm curious. When obviously you're on the Browns, the beginning of your career, you play with one crappy quarterback after the next. You go to Indianapolis and you play with Andrew Luck, who's a great quarterback. Obviously, he retired early, but you played with him your first year. You go to the playoffs with him. He gets hurt the next year. When you're playing, the Browns have never had a great quarterback. Like Bernie Kosar was the closest thing we've had to a great quarterback. He was great, but that's 100 years ago at this point, right?
Right.
So Deshaun Watson is the best, may end up being, I think he will be, I'm going to be optimistic about it, the best quarterback in Browns franchise history, at least in my lifetime. That's what I'm expecting because that's what he was in Houston.
Right.
When you get to play with Deshaun, what is it like for the rest of the players to play with a Deshaun Watson, to play with an Andrew Luck, as opposed to playing with the schlubs he played with in Cleveland? Does it make everybody better? And just knowing that you have the guy finally?
Hell yeah, it does. It's like you're always fed the best meal at dinner. You know, you're never unfed. And it was a stark difference. And it took me a half a year to realize, playing with Andrew Luck and playing with all these, the other, carousel of quarterbacks in Cleveland, just how much a quarterback means to a franchise. And just, it's hard to really put it into word. You're never out. And I don't know how, as easy as it is for me to say that, but no matter if you're close, there was a sense of in Indianapolis that we were going to win the game, as opposed to in Cleveland, if we were close, I hate to say it, but it was like, oh, here we go again type of mentality. And it was a losing mentality. And whether it was a human nature for you to go down that route, but completely different playing with Andrew Luck, and it permeates through the entire organization. Defensively, you understand, you know what? If I get a lead, if you're Myles Garrett or someone that's a pass rusher, oh man, my sack total should go up. And, just all these type of different stats go up. I had one of my best statistical years my first year with the Colts. I had 5.5 sacks. I had never had 5.5 sacks with the Browns. Why? Because we were playing with really big leads. Yep. So, it just opens up. Listen, every defensive player I know loves it. Every offensive player obviously loves it, but it permeates throughout the entire organization, man. And it's something that, you're right, if Deshaun Watson can get back on track and show us a glimmer of his old self, next year could be dangerous. If they keep adding to his weapons and he gets on the right page and builds rapport with his offense, and David Njoku continues to ascend, this could be a dangerous football team. But you got to obviously the other side of the ball is a huge focal point in the offseason.
I love the point you made. It's like you always have a chance, right? Like earlier, Brad said something that I've seen a lot lately, where it's like, well, the Browns' window is the next 3 years because, Myles Garrett's getting old, or Nick Chubb, whatever. How many great years does he have left? But in my mind, when you have Deshaun Watson, when you have Joe Burrow, when you have Patrick Mahomes, when you have Peyton Manning of your era, Tom Brady, those quarterbacks, like my window should never be closed. The organization, has to be smart with how they spend their money and keep putting decent players around him. But there's much more margin for error. I don't like to win, to get to the Super Bowl with somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo or Baker Mayfield or somebody like that. Like the rest of the team's got to be perfect. But I don't have to be perfect around Deshaun Watson. I got to be good. I can't be terrible. But I don't have to be as good around him. Yeah, you want the key receivers, but like my window should never close if I have Deshaun Watson or one of those guys as a quarterback. That's how I look at it as a fan. Do you look at it that way?
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. You look at the conference. You got, within your conference alone, you have to be able to score points.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
In this league, and to play deep in the playoffs and hopefully win the Super Bowl. The days of a dominant defense, like the 2000 Ravens defense when they won with Joe Flacco, those days are long gone. You have to be able to play opportunistic defense at the right time, but you have to be able to score points all the time. And you have to be able to move the chain. So, I agree with you. With Deshaun, obviously, the one that everyone is a prisoner in the moment. We see this team really ascend the next 3 years. You look at the young talent, because after 3 years or so, contracts come into play. Can you keep this guy? Will you be? So all these different external factors come into play. But if Deshaun Watson plays at the level that we all think he's capable of playing and can really take this team to the next level, they have the pieces on paper. If the front office does right, we can really see some really big jumps from this team, hopefully, in the next few years. But I agree with you. As long as you have a guy that's healthy, arm strength is healthy, can still chuck the ball down the field, you always have a shot.
Well, I know you, before I let you go, I know you went to New York, of course. I recommended some restaurants. I'm pretty sure you didn't have a chance to go to any of them. But did you have fun? The family have a good time in New York?
Absolutely. Oh, my God. We took our son to see the Rockettes. He loved it. First time seeing the show, loved it. I fell asleep, of course. When they dim the lights and they bring out the orchestra, that was a sign for me to go to sleep, take a little quick power nap.
Rave review.
No, we had a great time, great food. New York is always very festive for the holiday season. And actually, my son, the other day, he wanted to go back. I'm like, buddy, that costs money. When you get a job, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want.
Well,
What does the most interesting man in the world do for New Year's Eve? My guess is, like, are you going to get on a yacht and go out to some private island and go to, like, some Eyes Wide Shut masquerade party?
Not this year.
No, not this year?
Not this year.
No.
Not this year. So we're doing one of our good friends. He's a chef, so we're going to do that. We're going to the 9-course meal, get fed, get full, and then we're going to a place up the street here where it's a new restaurant, but they have a live DJ. It's invite only, so it'll be a good time.
Nice.
Well,
Yeah.
DeQuell,
Gotta hear some music.
it's been awesome having you on all year. We'll look forward to having you on again next year. Not only was DeQuell a great football player and a great analyst with us, he's most importantly a great human being. We love you. Have a happy New Year. Thank you as always.
All right, DeQuell.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, DeQuell.
G,
Love you, DeQuell. See you, man.
There he is.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
DeQuell Jackson. He's the man. He's the man.
That's probably like what?
I kind of name dropped DeQuell with some of my old New York friends. I'm like, yeah, DeQuell's my buddy.
Yeah.
He just texted me about something.
Yeah.
Now, DeQuell's the best. He was on today at 11:01.
Oh, yeah.
He watched the whole.
Yeah, well, he was watching when Mary Kay was on earlier in the week. So obviously
He
he's
does
paying
the
attention.
film study. He doesn't come in.
You can tell.
Nah,
Yeah.
he's locked in. There's no
legit
doubt about
watches.
it.
Always has.
I got to ask Brad and G this.
Yeah.
You got not a lot of time for this.
Okay. Give me one quick answers, guys. After hearing from DeQuell,
Mikey.
do you feel any better about giving Kevin Stefanski a 4th season?
Well, I think.
DeQuell make you feel a little better.
Well, I think DeQuell's giving me the reality because I don't think the Browns are going to pull the trigger on it.
No, they're not.
They're
But
not.
he didn't want them to either.
Well,
But now he said next year, different story, and I'm with him on
He
it.
didn't just say they won't do it. He said he wouldn't do it.
G, do you feel a little better or no? DeQuell make you feel a little better about the situation?
I knew they weren't going. They're not going. They was never going to.
No, we know that.
I
But,
like that.
but he wasn't just saying
He
they're
wasn't
not going to
just
do it.
saying they're not going to.
He
He
was
said he
saying they
wouldn't do
should.
it. Do you like this? We're using a real football player now to support to buttress your argument.
No,
We're like, say no to the real football player. Go ahead. I led the Browns in
I'll
tackles.
say no to it all day long. This is not my philosophy.
No,
I would
you
not
guys
do
don't
that.
have to change your
If
mind.
I
because
would-
of that.
I
I'm
would
just
do
curious.
it. I would do it at all.
He just said, did it make you feel better? Though?
Yeah,
No,
didn't
no,
make you feel better.
The only way it make me feel better
Is
is
if they
if
win.
I see results.
Yeah.
Results.
That's fair.
We can do head canon all we want. Like,
That's
yeah,
fair.
it sound cool. And we might get it done. Coming up in I think one of the other segments, we doing a resolution. For
Yeah,
the
that's
Browns.
coming up now, right?
We'll do headlines. We're gonna
Yeah.
do resolutions a little later.
Okay.
It'll
We
tie
did
in.
promise that we got to do. We do have to tease membership stuff.
I was
because
just going to bring that up.
I love one on the same wavelength.
Gee, we got to talk about memberships.
Got to.
You and I love doing the bonus content. Everybody loves doing the bonus content. Overtime. There's the starters tier for your emojis and your community posts, and G is always chatting with people. Doesn't matter the time of day.
I was mad. I was mad at Bull and at Didi. I was in
About
the chat.
what?
I said, I'm tired of hearing about the Bengals and the Steelers. Tired of it. They was like, dang, dog. It was like 2 in the morning. They was like, why you still up, dog? Did you talk to them today about
Still
this
getting
or
mad?
specifically?
Damn.
And they was like, yeah, but I'm always in the chat, in the tab, bro. You know, in the community tab, it never stops. That's why there's a different group of people that's in. There's a live chat.
Yeah.
Then there's the people that is in the comment section.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's people who go back and watch like old shows.
Yeah.
Just to do the rewind to see how dumb we were back in the day. Because they try to get you that I got you moment. So,
That's right.
so they still commenting on the other thing that was like, yeah, this take really aged well.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we got the bonus coverage. We got the overtime show. Which we got 2 more shows of that. Those have been really successful. So
What's the starter tier, G?
starter tier is $199. You get the badges. Jason Lloyd got badges now. The coaches tier is $499.
That's
and
the
by the
bonus
way,
content right there.
And by the way, they working on the off season when the off season comes on more ways to interact with you guys.
That's right.
We might be doing a bunch of other stuff we can't tell you yet because you'll be mad if we don't do it.
Although we interact, you and I especially interact with people on Twitter, certainly.
I
Now, let
stay
me
on
ask a
Twitter.
question. Let's talk about the Bengals here for a minute. No, I'm just kidding. Mike, what do we got going on? Let's
headlines.
do some headlines here,
We're gonna
right?
do headlines. Polk, we have yours. We just didn't have time to make it, so
That's
we're gonna
fine.
verbally do a Polk headline.
We'll
But
do
we
it
do have
verbally.
Brad's.
All right, let's go with Brad.
Let's start with Brad.
Bring it up, baby. Look, isn't this nice? Browns take command in the DMV. For those who don't know the DMV, that's D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, better known as the nation's capital, right? So the Browns are taking command of the Commanders, right?
like
and then
to see
for
it.
all these all these people panicking in Cleveland. Calm down. Watson allows you to breathe a sigh of relief because he's starting to look like himself. So everybody just relax.
All right.
Nice.
Well, all right, good. First thing I think of when I hear DMV is Patrick Ewing. That's the first name that comes to mind for me.
Patrick from Georgetown?
Yeah.
I think of the Department of Motor Vehicles.
Because I remember when I was a kid.
Just so you know, that's what came to my mind.
When I was a kid, I was a big St. John's basketball fan. My best friend was a Georgetown fan, and then we had another good friend who was a Syracuse fan. And in those days, all three were good. And now they all suck.
The DMV.
Well, Syracuse is all right. The St. John's and Georgetown suck now. But we used to get it.
Yeah, because if you live up in that area, that's what they refer to that area.
Shout out to the Berry Farms Park.
They refer to DMV.
If you're not, if you're down in the Baltimore area, you know where Berry Farms is. People get buckets down there, bro.
All right. Really narrow shout out. My headline is, you guys might not like it, it's not quite as positive.
Yeah.
Browns still shitty in Capital City.
Damn.
Here's the thing, guys. I don't like the trajectory of this team currently. I don't like the mood. I do think they'll get it together for the last game of the season. I do believe that, and that's going to be and that'll give us all hope. But I think we got one more week of just disorder, chaos, and a bunch of young players knowing that they're not playing for anything.
I would have thought, Poke, you would have been more optimistic.
No,
I know,
I'm not.
I'm just not feeling it this week.
Hey.
I'm just, I got a real negative vibe out of this team right now.
I see.
I got a negative vibe out of this team right now.
I said 2 days ago, I'm the Duke of knee jerk.
Yeah, gee. What do
You are.
I'm like, bro, I don't like nothing about the Browns. It was a day I just didn't like nothing. Like the socks, the pants. I like the offense.
Stupid elf.
And then, listen, I need something else, man. I mean, they'll do that to you, bro. They'll do that to you.
That's where I'm at.
Now, do you think if God forbid they lose these last 2 games, do you think that has any bearing? Because we could be level-headed, but do you think any of that has anything to do with the sway on Jimmy Haslam? Because Jimmy done said he gonna keep somebody,
anything could
and
happen.
then he blow everybody out. He was like, what happened?
I could see if they completely crater in these last 2 games, him firing everybody. I could totally see that. I think that's always possible. You never know with
Let me
Jimmy.
tell you something. If they get cratered these last 2 games,
it's
warranted. Enough is enough.
It could happen.
I mean, I'm in the locker room at the gym every night, right? Right. The frustration between just the regular people that are just working, it's at an all-time high.
The one thing I disagree with, Brad, is you said everybody's always patient here. They have never been patient with any coach. I'm not saying they should have been necessarily, but it's not like they have been.
Well, here, it's not like they've had winners here, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
no, but you said they've been patient. They haven't.
Let me tell you. So,
deservedly so in
let me
most
tell you,
of these cases,
I played for some great coaches. Chuck Daly, Phil Jackson. I played for them, right? I know what it smells like. This don't smell like that.
All right.
At all.
Okay.
Let's leave that for now. Let's see G's headline.
G-Bush.
I'm a little more positive. Look at me.
Look at this.
Yeah, did you though?
Close, but no. Oh, you got them losing. That's not positive.
All I care about is Watson looking good. Listen, we going for self right now. This is stats.
Every man for himself.
I feel like I could wrap that sub-headline.
Close but no cigar.
Yeah.
Hey, I think he put up some decent numbers. And once again, the thing that rears his ugly head, I wish I could teach psychology and human nature to these people, right? See, Stefanski, you had 2 scapegoats you could have used. You could have got rid of Woods and said, I'll go with the dude that don't know nothing. And then we would have been like, well, he doesn't have a D coordinator. This guy's not a real coordinator. The offense looks good. As long as they fix that, we'll be good. But the longer you kept him, that mud is getting on you. You got to do it a little. Same thing with Baker. You did a masterful job with Baker. You just scapegoated him.
He now watching the other organizations in the league.
No.
How they scapegoat
How
people.
they going? Matt Rule, they started Matt Rule's hot seat like the last few games of his first year. I'm like, how is he already on it? But I think we throw for some yards. I think the defense gives up in the end. But I think Watson actually starts to look like Watson.
You see what's going on in Vegas?
I need that 3.
Vegas is trying to scapegoating now. They're like,
as my
Derek
friend,
Carr, you out.
As my friend, will you be rooting for the Bengals in the playoffs? Do you want me to be happy? Does it?
It's all about your happiness, right?
Do you want me to be happy, or do you want screw it? I don't want division teams winning.
No. Here's the 6 sadistic way.
Who were you rooting before you answer that? Who were you rooting for in the Super Bowl last year?
I wanted to see the. It was a great one. First of all, Odell Beckham was playing,
That's
and
true.
I wanted to prove the Browns are stupid for letting him go, so
Yeah.
it worked out for me. And then the Bengals was in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl. 1 year after drafting Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, so y'all was dumb as hell for telling me that we can't get it done. We got to have a 10-year plan.
Yeah.
So it was great.
I also have a
interesting.
friend who is also like a frenemy friend who is a huge Lions fan.
Yeah.
So the fact that Matthew Stafford left and immediately won a Super Bowl was really
Yeah.
satisfying
It
as
was
well.
Like,
That was great.
But I will say this though. I
Now,
want.
you and I have become much closer friends in the last year.
I would want the Bengals. Here's the reason. The only reason I want the Bengals to win is so that I could look at the Browns and say, "You dummies, you stupid. I hate your face.
Is that what this is?
These dudes is in our division winning, and look what we got." That I like pressure. I love pressure.
All right. We'll be talking about the Steelers
Bull, do you want to
later.
wrap
Okay.
that sub-headline? You said you could spit some bars to that.
No,
I thought G's subheadline would be good couple of rap lyrics because they rhyme. I don't know.
Rap lyrics, come on.
You want to rap it for us?
I could.
No, I
Yeah,
don't.
pull it back up, Steve.
He
Let's get a
want
little-
give him that Run DMC flow. Here it
Watson
comes.
looks great, but the defense gives up late.
That's that Run DMC flow.
elite. All right, Bull, you ready for yours?
Remember when Aerosmith? By the way, remember when Aerosmith and
Run DMC came together.
Walk This Way?
Yeah.
Walk
That
this
was
way.
awesome.
Walk
I love
this
that.
I
way.
hate that flow.
Well,
You
yeah,
didn't like
I know.
that?
No.
Of course
That was
not.
awesome.
Of course not, but that's not the point. It was an important cultural moment.
Yes, it was.
You'll recognize
cool.
Yes,
I-
I like music where people die in it. I like people. I like music where you get smacked with the burner.
Yeah.
I catch you outside.
Right.
I strip you down.
Positive.
Take your
Yeah.
jewels.
Jeez. I'm gonna have to stop. I'm gonna have to stop fooling with y'all. Y'all too crazy.
My headline there, Mike.
Kilos.
What's the deal? What's the deal? Come on now.
We got my headline?
We got yours, and then we did a production headline, too.
Okay,
so,
go ahead.
Bull, you're up next.
Yes, here we go. Watson arrives. Watson, I double Watson. That's kind of poor. But
That is bad.
I should have said Deshaun on the second one, or Deshaun on the first one. But anyway, Watson breaks out with 321 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Bull, that's coming.
It's going to be
it's
good
coming.
weather
It's
in
coming.
Washington.
That's what I was just about to say. It's going to be warm this weekend for him?
Yeah.
Oh, this thing is coming.
I
I
think
hope you're right.
I think David Njoku, who played his worst game of the year last week, and overall has had a very good season. I think he's going to break. I think he's going to have a big game. I think David Njoku might go for over 100 yards in this game, like crazy tight end numbers.
Mikey, bring up those receiving yards again. I want to see what
Yeah,
everybody
I think
looks
it's going to be a big game for the offense. I think the whole offense is going to play well. I think Nick Chubb has. I think everybody in the offense is having a good day.
All they need is 2. If they get 2 games where he throw for
And that's through
300,
16 games. That's a typo on mine.
300, and
Yeah.
say for instance in the last 2 games, if you get Amari Cooper 1,100, you get Donovan Peoples-Jones in the 9s.
I wonder
Yeah.
if Donovan Peoples-Jones got a bonus for 1,000 yards.
You know he probably do.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a rookie
No,
contract.
not in a rookie contract.
Yeah, probably
not
not,
in a
a
rookie
rookie
contract.
contract. Yeah. All right, let's do the production team.
Production headline. So everyone did Watson headlines. So we went a little different. We went with the ultimate loser. Snyder in command can't even beat the Browns in the battle of the two worst
Why would
owners
that
in
be a
football.
headline in Cleveland?
Well, we changed it up. We went the Washington headline.
Just trying to be creative.
Just trying to do a little something different.
Yeah,
But
let
we
him
thought
stretch out, man. Creatively.
Snyder and Haslam might be the 2 most hated owners.
Oh yeah, they was
in
going.
football.
They was going in on the DMV yesterday because they were like, "Wait a minute now, we going back to Carson Wentz, who give us a chance of winning nothing." I said, at least with Taylor Heineke, we had a heartbeat. We got a chance to make the playoffs. Now
I
we
don't
going
think
back
it
to
matters.
Wentz.
They both suck.
That's what they were saying.
If Jimmy Haslam, people around here want Jimmy Haslam to sell the team so bad.
Yeah.
If Jimmy Haslam, they made him sell the team, but the only person that would get the team was Daniel Snyder. Would you
If the NFL forced Daniel Snyder to sell the Commanders only to buy the Browns,
Right. Do you? Which is worse? If you had to pick one?
I think Snyder's actually. I think Jimmy's the 31st worst owner in the league, the 31st best owner in the league, or the second worst. I think Daniel Snyder's the only one worse. But you know what? It's probably a tie. They're both horrible. Daniel Snyder's just been doing it longer.
And he left an email trail.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
I want to see all the emails.
Like, don't you wish you had one of the man?
wanna
Don't
see
you
them
wish
all.
you had like Art Rooney as the owner of
My
the Browns?
God,
Oh,
that's
my gosh.
Like, it's so funny. You got him and Jerry Jones, and they make Jerry Jones. Well, not really.
It's really what's funny is that we don't get to pick as fans who worship this team, and that's the wrong word, forever, and love this team, we don't get to pick the character or the capability of the oligarch who purchases the team that we love and that we've always followed.
The perfect
We just
owner,
have to get lucky and hope that the person is a decent
These
person.
franchises,
Isn't that terrible?
These franchises cost so much. Now you have Elon Musk as your owner.
Right.
That's the only kind of people can afford.
But you just got to
to
hope
now.
that
the
whatever.
perfect owner is Dolan with Jimmy's spending power.
No, Dolan with Dan Gilbert's spending power.
Yeah, I mean Jimmy's willing to spend too. I give him credit for that. But yes,
The problem is you're always walking. So it's always a perilous path because to accumulate the amount of money necessary to purchase a team, it comes from some pretty terrible places, or it's nepotism, or it's inherited. But in any way, let me finish my point. In any way, it probably means that you probably value things differently than most of us do.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Whether you're a pineapple, your parents own Dole pineapple, like you didn't work for that.
Right.
In a way that a lot of people did, or whether you made your money as like on Wall Street or something like that. In some way, you're probably different personality-wise, and you just got to hope that the person is a decent person.
Well, here's your story, Mike. Right. You cannot conflate the two. Just because you own ABC advertising company don't mean you know how that sports is the same thing.
Right.
If you buy the team and run the team and let people who understand the side of sports run the team. Because I guarantee you this, right? Because my old neighbor here, when I was playing in Chicago, was Ozzie Newsome. Ozzie would run this team a whole lot differently than it's being run right now.
Yes.
Yes, he would.
Yeah.
Yes, he would.
he did a great job in Baltimore.
Yes,
No
yes,
doubt
he would.
about
That was my neighbor.
Well,
Right.
there's not a lot of Ozzie Newsome.
But I'm saying, the one thing is you see those organizations like that, they let the football people run the organization.
Yes.
They're not very rarely seen. They're here to commentary on the overview of the whole organization.
Wow.
But when you start embedding yourself, it's like Puff Daddy in the video, right?
You want to, if you want to come over here and you don't want the producer all in the video, dancing, come to Death Row.
Right.
Wait a second. Hold on. Is this real? Listen to this. Jerry. Oh, okay. I thought it said he hasn't. It says Jerry Jones says team. I thought it said has been in contact with Terrell Owens about a potential return. He actually says hasn't been. How old is Terrell Owens?
41.
That might be the most.
He hasn't played in like
He's
5
46.
years.
Is he 46?
That might be the most pointless headline
I
I've
know.
ever heard.
I thought it said he's.
Well, he's always on Instagram advertising how well he's in shape and things. I like, well, you okay? Running on the track is not.
He's 49. Sorry.
Is he?
Yes.
It's time. Bring him back.
I like, look, that's not running across the middle getting popped.
No, it is not.
All right, guys, let's go. Let's go to New Year's resolutions.
You want to do resolutions, then we'll do Cavs, then we'll do Tyvus, and we'll say goodbye.
Yeah.
Bull, you're up first with your Browns New Year's resolution.
Yes.
this year.
Okay. Here we go. We have there it is. The Browns need to stop effing around.
Oh, okay.
Right? I mean, the Browns need to stop effing around.
What's that mean?
That means we got to stop. First of all, it means somebody, hopefully, there's somebody within the organization that has the ability to tell Jimmy Haslam to shut the bleep up and stay out of things. Number two, you got to stop with all the there's always drama surrounding the Browns. Every year, there's some sort of nonsense, some sort of shenanigans, whether it's off the field or on the field. I mean, every year you could point to some sort of nonsense that's happened with the Browns. And those distractions have to go out of the way. They have to stop effing around with Joe Woods. They have to stop effing around with Mike Prefer. And Kevin Stefanski has to win next year for two reasons. Number one, we want the Browns to be good because it's good for business. And number two, God damn it, I want to be right. I'm one of the few people that still believes in Kevin Stefanski, and then I can tell everybody else they were an idiot if he pays off. Thank you.
And this was a PSA from Petty LeBeau.
Petty LeBeau. That's
And
right.
Bull, now time for your personal New Year's resolution.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna stop. You know, I get aggravated about a lot of things, as anybody that knows me knows.
Really?
Yeah. Right. And I will still continue to get aggravated about a lot of things, but I'm trying to get aggravated about less things. Be a little less curmudgeon-y in general. People might not notice it because I'll still be curmudgeon-y at times, so it might not seem like I'm less curmudgeon-y. But you know, I'm very passionate about forget sports, but in my personal life, I'm very passionate about the treatment of people.
Very much so.
Treatment
You
of
are.
human beings.
Yes, you are.
I am very saddened by anybody that doesn't want to treat anybody equally. I believe, and I don't understand how everybody else doesn't believe, that everybody should have an equal opportunity to succeed. And there are and there are things that hold back different groups of people. Not every single person within those groups for being able to succeed, but it holds back people.
Yeah.
And so I'm always fighting with people on Twitter, and I'm getting into arguments about things that I guess have been made into politics, which shouldn't be politics. And I got to stop doing that. I want to instead have conversations with people, and because I have found when I've done that, when if I can have a reasonable conversation with somebody that feels differently than me, then the anger goes away, and then we can just have a reasonable conversation.
Right.
We may end up disagreeing in the end, but I'm not gonna I'm done going on Twitter and saying this politician is a piece of crap, and if you don't agree with me, you're an idiot, because that's not getting anything done. We're not getting anywhere with that. I just get myself aggravated when that happens.
Right.
I get there too. I understand.
I'm going to try to talk to those who I think can be talked to, and those who can't be, I'm not going to make myself crazy by them anymore.
Good for you, man. It's
Right.
difficult.
I'll give Bull credit when just so you know he does care about people. I'm like at the time I was the only black person at the radio station, right? And when George Floyd happened, Bull called me and asked what could he do to help out, or what could he do, or you want me to just listen? And the crazy thing is, it wasn't like he did it to solicit anything, or I called anything. He just called I feel really bad about it. Just like, yo, I just want to, you know what I'm saying? And I never forgot that, because at the time, you know, we would cross paths or whatever, but we weren't, you know, as close as we are now, obviously working. And he just, on some real stand-up stuff, was like, yo, hey, it's crazy what's going on in the world. I just wanted to see where you at with it.
Right.
And what can I do as a white male to hopefully end some of this kind of stuff? So I always thought that was really dope of him to do that. So he does, when he says he cares about equality, he does. Like, even when, you know, even before we even got to this point.
I've told him that before, and I totally agree. I told him that I think
Thank you, guys.
he's been an important voice on the radio too. Like, for that, he's never shy about that, and I think that hits an audience that it normally wouldn't, that normally wouldn't hear those sorts of opinions. And you hear a lot of talk. You don't have any trouble hearing a lot of talk on the other side on a lot of stations, and so it was good hearing. It was always good hearing.
And thank you, G. And I just feel like a lot of times when people don't like somebody because of their race or religion or sexual orientation, a lot of times it's because they just don't know any better. Not everybody that feels certain ways is always a bad person. Sometimes they're just ignorant.
Yeah.
And they just don't know. Like, if you didn't, I once had somebody, I swear to God, when I was like 19, 20, and I was living in upstate New York, this is like 1990, 91, I don't remember the exact year. Somebody, and they met me, and I told them I was Jewish, and this person had never met a Jewish person before. I swear to you, this person asked me if I had horns, because, like, I know that sounds crazy, but, like, they're in some wild circles, they think Jewish people have horns. This is, like, insanity. But, like, I didn't get mad at the guy for asking me the question. I said, at the time, I didn't even know that there was such a thing about this. There was no internet, or if there was, I didn't know it. And I just had a conversation with this guy, and he ended up becoming a friend.
Wow.
And it didn't matter that I was Jewish. It didn't matter.
That's cool.
It didn't matter if someone's black or gay or Latin or Jewish or Muslim or whatever they are. Because if you get to know people as people, yeah, there's always going to be some D-bags in every group, but the majority of people are good people. If you give them a chance and get to know other people that are not, you know, if you grew up where everybody was white and Christian and straight, you're going to be scared of people maybe you don't know. But if you get to know people, you realize that most people are good people. And if you give people a chance and you talk to them and have a conversation, instead of just being, I don't know, I'm rambling a little at this point. I just think,
That's all right.
yeah, damn. Anyway,
It was very nice of you, though, when that guy made that comment, for you not to use your Jewish magic to put a hex on him.
Exactly. My space laser.
Yeah, you could have
I could have used the space
done
laser.
that.
I have access to the space laser.
Just saying. Very cool of you.
G. Bush, it's time for your Browns New Year's resolution.
Yeah, so I didn't even send you a personal one, but I got one though.
No, we made one for you. Don't worry.
So you just made it up for me?
And you'll see why.
Okay.
And because
I didn't know we were supposed to physically send either. I'm just going to say mine.
Yeah, no, I texted it, but it's okay.
Sorry.
For me, it's for the sports-wise. It's for the Browns to have the number one offense or the number one defense. And what I've come to the conclusion of is, right now we're in this pursuit of, these mythical places. We're in the pursuit of just being competent and good. And we've talked about whether the Browns should run a lot. We talked about whether they should pass a lot. We talked about, is their defense good or is their defense just serviceable? My thing is, the Browns should have the pursuit of greatness. If you gonna run the ball, be the best running team. If you gonna throw the ball, you shouldn't be like, well, we'll settle for fifth. No, give me number one. I want number one. If you're gonna be the best defense, I need you to be the best defense in the league. The Browns need to start being like, look, man, I get it. We want to be balanced. I understand that we'll take a third in the league. But no, at some point in time, my burning desire is to see the Browns actually dominant in one area or the other. And we'll figure out what we're going to do with the other one. But if you're going to be somebody, go up top. If you're going to go get you a luxury car and somebody says, like in the great words of T.I., hey, somebody who buy a Jaguar, that's nice. But if you're going to buy me a luxury car, I'm not going to pick the Jaguar. I need the Benz. I give me the G-Wagon, give me the Maybach, give me the Rolls Royce. Why would I pick a Lexus? Lexuses are fine. They'll get it done. But if you paying for it, I want the Phantom. I want the Wraith. That's what I want. I want up top.
What is a Wraith? I don't even know what that is.
Rolls Royce Wraith. You know what I'm saying?
Top of the line.
By the way, once a team, like if the Browns get to the point where they're like one of these great offenses in the league, then we'll never talk about play calling.
Ever.
Because we're not going to be talking about should they run more, should they pass more.
No.
Once you're a good offense, you don't worry about
You
any
don't worry
of that crap.
about nothing. You don't second guess that. That's a great.
We got to get to that.
Oh yeah,
We gotta get to that.
think how fun these recordings will be to look at then.
Nobody will talk about you ran the ball on 3rd and 2.
Yeah, nobody.
Yes, exactly. Arguing over how many were carries.
Because we didn't get the first down, so what? We'll get a next drive. We'll score a touchdown next drive. By the way, speaking of Lexus, when I was like 22, I was working as a gopher for an oil company, and my boss used to let me take his Lexus. Let me take it. I would go take it for oil changes and all this stuff, all the crappy work. But man, I got to drive a Lexus. That was fun.
Wow.
In the early 90s.
In the early 90s.
I didn't even know the car was on. The car was so quiet.
Lexus was top of the line back then. The two-tone.
Yeah. That's how it used to be.
G, you ready for your personal,
that's personal.
New Year's resolution?
Let's get that.
Oh, personal. Listen.
No. We did it for you.
He should be able to pick his own.
No, he lost that privilege because his New Year's resolution is he's going to get stuff to the production team on time when they ask for it. So G,
I'm gonna do that.
I'm holding you to that this year.
And I might wanna be here so that I have to put my mic on right in the beginning of the show.
Yeah, you're gonna get here
Shout out to
earlier
Steve
and send your stuff in.
And
you give Steve a heart attack every day.
every day. Sometimes I come in dancing. I'll be listening to music. He'd be like, 30 seconds, man. 30 freaking seconds again, man. And I will put my mic over my chair. So we're going to do a lot of stuff.
That's good.
G is all or nothing. Like, if you text him, you either hear back right away or good luck.
My brother was like, hey, man, like, by the way, I got a cologne coming out. It's called Nocturnal. So... I'm dead serious.
I believe you.
I got it.
It still could be humorous.
Yes, it is, right? Like it's kind of like
true.
what you doing?
That's true. Yeah.
So I got a joint called Nocturnal out, and I was like, "Hey, man, where'd you get this from?" He said, "Bro, we've been ordered these boxes weeks ago, bro." I said, "These is ready to go." He said, "Bro, did you read the chain?" I said, "Come on."
No chain.
So it's not just us. It's
No. Let's take it personal.
It's my wife.
What's up, Mike? It's Mike's time.
There are people.
Mike Polk, you got to read yours.
Yeah.
My resolution for the Browns is to show some appreciation for the fan base and what you've put them through this year and last year. I mean, leading into this year. And I mean that. I'm not just being totally glib with that. We talked earlier this week about the different franchises in town and how they show appreciation differently or at all. And I do feel like the Cavs do the best job at that, of showing love for their fans. And it doesn't have to be anything miraculous either. Sometimes it's just some of their social media stuff, some of their emails that they send out and stuff like that, thanking fans. The Browns just don't think to do that stuff. They think that it's just, it's your honor to like us. We are the best team in town. The Cavs, for example, at the end of every season, they have fan night where they just empty out the prize closets of all the crap they gathered from throughout the year. And some of it's just like Stuart Little sandals from a promotional movie thing and stuff like that. It makes no sense.
MGK bobbleheads.
Yes, exactly. Anything old Anderson Varejao wigs that were clogged behind some duct somewhere that they found. They just throw it. But people love it.
They love
it.
it.
And the fans
People love
love it.
free
And the
stuff.
kids go to it. I mean, I did like seeing last week at the game when they made all of the people come down from the 500s and go down into the lower seats because they were for warmth, if nothing else.
Only after halftime.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
only after
crazy.
It is. That is bad. But I do like thinking of the people who bought like $800 seats right here.
Just late.
Yeah, $800 seats right here on the 50-yard line, and then like my unwashed drunk friends get to come and sit next to him, put their arm around some lady from Bay Village, like I love that. Anyways, I want you to just show appreciation, however you can figure out how to do that, because it's been a rough one. You're just like, well, it's just a waiting year. You know it's going to be next year. We're still here. We still got to sit through this, just so you know. Personal resolution: I'm going to eat at 20 different Red Lobsters in 2023.
They going out of business too.
Well, I better hurry then,
I
I
haven't
guess.
eaten a Red Lobster forever, and I should because they have the best biscuits of any chain
Cheddar?
restaurant
Yes,
ever.
shout out.
You
Cheddar
know
Bay
they got
biscuits.
that box mix. You can make them at the house.
Oh my God.
Those are my
It's not the
resolutions.
same, though.
get
It's
that.
not
It's
the
not
same.
No, it's not the same. I've done them. They're not the same.
Oh my God.
Those biscuits are like I've never had crack, but I feel like it's the same.
My
thing.
my sister's like, she tries to make them, and she's like, aren't they perfect? I'm like, yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
I gotta get them.
You got to go get them there.
Yeah.
Somebody else has to tell you they're perfect. You can't bake something
right.
and
You
be
can't
like,
call your own stuff
no.
perfect.
Someone
That's
has
bad.
to tell you that.
Come on, Mike.
Brad is up.
Brad, let's see yours.
Let me see what it is. I forgot. Oh, yeah, here's my New Year's resolution for the Browns. The Browns truly want to be great and will make whatever moves necessary to get to that level. Please. I'm so hopeful. Listen, time is ticking here, right? Time is ticking. I've been patient. I've been a patient guy, right? I remember the days when the Browns were good, yearly, year in and year out.
Been a while.
Leroy Kelly both got in the backfield, right? Warfield here, right? Hanford Minnie hold down the edges, right? Greg Pruitt, the tearaway jerseys. I'm a patient guy. Bernie, Brian Sipe, the glory years. This last 20-year run has been rough.
Yes.
23.
It's 30.
24.
It's been rough. It's been rough. I mean, it's been rough.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, my patience is thin, right? And I think I'm representative of a lot of people out here. I told you I take the pulse from the fitness facility, or I go work out in the gym. Just sit in the locker room. Patience is thin out here.
Hey, streets is talking.
They're like, come on now.
Streets is
We're
people mad.
Every year we talk about the thing they're saying now. Every year is next year. We'll get better next year. Let's wait till next. People tired. They're tired because they see franchises. We see other franchises who have been at the bottom coming. And in case you didn't watch, that Jacksonville coming.
Oh, yeah.
They coming.
They getting better.
They coming. They coming.
Ain't it funny that we like, say for instance, we got all three diverse opinions about the Browns. But the one thing that makes Browns fans unique is we all uniquely love them just as much as the other one does.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter, like, okay, I feel like we should do this to get there. He feel like Brad feel like he should do this. Mike Polk might be like, oh, we gotta, this is what we can tweak to get there. But at the heart and the core, we just want to get there.
Right.
Like in every Browns fan you see, it's that thing in your
There's
stomach.
that one unifier.
It's the one unifier. We don't care what it is. We just want to get there.
Figure it the F out.
And if we see, bro, I can just almost taste it. Like, can you imagine waking up the morning of Super Bowl Sunday, and the Browns is playing?
Here. Let me give you.
Brad, we got Tyvus.
Brad, we got
Wings.
Tyvus. Give us your personal.
Let's
you
get
got
your personal one. We'll get back to this.
Yeah.
So my personal is that, everybody knows I got 4 daughters. I'm gonna keep nurturing those girls so they become the beautiful women that they're becoming. And then I'm just gonna continue to build up my city in Warrensville Heights and making sure that it's the best that
Nice
it can
job.
be. That's
Good
what
for
I
you,
want to do.
sir.
Maryland ranked what, 16th right now? Did I see?
16th, but
Yeah.
they had a couple of losses last night. They're a top 10 team. They will be at the end. Yeah.
Let's bring our buddy Tyvus
Bring on
as well.
Tyvus.
Tyvus.
Oh, this guy.
He's styling in that car. Look at that. He's ready for the big game. Tyvus, are you feeling? Are you have real confidence or fake confidence heading into this Buckeyes game tomorrow? Can he?
Let me take my glasses off because I want to see the reaction on the faces.
Man, take the
when I say
CBS glasses off.
Walgreens.
Look, Versace Medusa head. Don't be
You
like,
can buy them. You can buy them. You can buy them on Broad Street in Columbus. Stop playing with me.
That's not how Versace is spelled.
Listen, I got them out of Saxfield Beechwood Mall. But anyways, let me get to my point. Here we go. The Buckeyes is gonna win this game. I'm gonna tell you, I've been going back and forth with it, man, and I've been like, it is Georgia, and I respect Georgia, them dogs. But when you're back up against the wall, man, and you ain't got nothing to do but fight, I think this team gonna rise to the occasion, man. I really do. I really do. I just, for some odd reason, just deep down, the way they've been talking to the media, you got CJ coming out saying, I'm willing whatever it takes to win this game. Listen, it ain't too many people that knows what that means. Like that means you're going to do some extraordinary stuff. Like for CJ, his biggest knock is running the ball. So if that's the case, if Jalen Carter is coming through that line, that means you're going to take off and you're going to pick up some yards. You're going to do what it takes to move the sticks. If that's the case, then the Buckeyes going to win this game, man. I really believe that in my heart, y'all.
Hey, Tyvus, you know what I've been saying? I've been telling people this week. Tell people, don't take it personal. But I got to go see a man about a dog and a flag. And they say, what you talking about? I got to go see a man about a dog. That's Georgia. Mm-hmm. But I really got to see a man about a flag. I mean, that flag fiasco they pulled at Ohio State. That's what I'm coming to see. Mm-hmm. So I got to go see the man about the dog first. Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to get to the man about the flag.
If Ohio State wins this game, they should win. They should beat either Michigan or TCU.
Oh, we going to be, listen.
I think the winner of this game wins it all.
I agree.
Well,
because you got to think, Michigan, the worst part is Ohio State has more talent than Michigan. Like, it ain't even. Like, it's just that they're executing and Harbaugh is pulling some strings. They more physical. But when it comes from skill to skill, Ohio State got better. Ohio State got better receivers, got better quarterbacks. And to be truthful, they got the better offensive line when you look at the guys projected to go in the first 2 rounds. They have more talent than these dudes.
It wasn't about physicality to why they lost to the team up north. The problem is they were too physical. They were so physical and so mad at them for what happened last year that they start doing dumb stuff. Like personal foul penalties, that's dumb stuff. They were so busy trying to get back at them that the team up north just outsmarted them. Hey, these guys is being aggressive, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to use that aggressiveness against them. And that's what they did. Like they sold
Ryan
out.
Day better use that too, Tyvus, because if he show up light, it's not going to end up well for him.
I'm going to fire his ass if they lose this game.
If they lose to Georgia?
They should fire him.
He'll get over Georgia. But if he beat Georgia and lose to Michigan,
Tyvus, give Ohio State fans. Tyvus, give Ohio State fans some hope. Give us a couple of Georgia weaknesses that people might not be aware of. What are the weaknesses of Georgia that people aren't aware of?
So you know how I always for this whole season have talked about how Ohio State's corners in particular is terrible. Well, Georgia's corners ain't that great either, and due to the fact that we have one of the best, if not the best wide receiver in college football, he's going to get open. And if he doesn't get open, then that leaves, they're going to obviously come up with a game plan to stop Marvin Harrison. So that means that Mecca should eat. Cade Stover should eat. The pass game should be there. The difficult challenge that they face is the fact that D-line, Jalen Carter in particular, him being at the defensive tackle position, it's hard you can beat the edge rush. You can just run away from the edge rush, roll away from the edge rush. But when it's coming straight down the middle, that's where the problem comes. So they have to find a way to give CJ some protection, because if they do that, these wide receivers will win all night long. That's where they can win this game, man, is in in Georgia's secondary.
Am I crazy, or does it seem like it's raining in Tyvus's car?
No, but I'm looking at the tower behind this thing. Where you at, man?
It's a very disturbing perspective.
That's an old ghetto style transformer behind you. Close the thing.
You know, y'all worried about the wrong
thing. He hating on my roof. They outside looking at the telephone poles. I'm shutting all this down right now.
Oh, that's
Gotta close the lower roof, man. Y'all ridiculous.
I come correct on the set, baby.
Listen, in the end, Michigan kicked Ohio State's ass.
You're not supposed to be paying attention to
It
that.
did look like it was raining in his car. By the way, we know Michigan kicked Ohio State's ass in the end, but the reality is it got forgotten because it doesn't matter in the end, but it might matter if they play again, is that Ohio State really dominated the first half of that game.
They did.
And it looked, the first, quarter and a half, it felt like Ohio State was going to win.
Till we got dominated.
And then it just flipped, and Ohio State was garbage the rest of the way.
Because if you think about it, going into it, they had a couple of pass plays that, one was busted coverage and the other one was because a corner missed the tackle. So going into halftime, they feeling good. Like, listen, we don't make those mistakes. We're blowing these guys out. The problem is they forgot to come out in the second half. Now, see, the game plan was to stop the run. They embarrassed us in the run. So that's why you run cover 0. You got your corners playing man-to-man. Everybody should be accounted for. Now I can send guys in on the blitz. And they got this freshman quarterback here who we don't know if he's good or not. So let's put some pressure in his face to see how he acts. And he actually made some key throws. So that's what put them up or had them in the game at halftime. Second half, they made these things called adjustments. The Cleveland Browns should learn something about it. But they came out, made some adjustments, and said, "Hey, they really selling out on the pass, and let's start hitting them with some runs." Now I'm about to call them the Browns. The Buckeyes start misfitting gaps, and now you see them getting gashed in the run game. So that's what happened. You got to make some adjustments. It's like I say, the game of football is a game of chess, not checkers. What worked in the first half is not going to work in the second half.
Tyvis, great talking with you as always, buddy. Enjoy the New Year's with your beautiful family. We love you. Have a great time.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next year.
All right, Tyvis.
Go Bucks.
Come on,
Go
man.
Bucks. Go Browns. Cavs is going to come back, man. We're going to bounce back from that Pacer loss. Lego.
See you, Tyvis. All right, there's our last guest of 2022.
Yeah.
What an appropriate note.
Yes. Guys, the Cavaliers.
Yes.
Last 3 games, they've dropped 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Lose to Indiana last night. Brad, let's start with you. Their defense in these last 3 games has been awful.
Horrendous.
What's happening?
Well, basically what happens is, and it happened again last night, you have a young team that is now enamored with the way the game is structured now. The game is structured now for flamboyancy, scoring, things of that nature. 3 things that are exciting, right? That it may make good TV for TV watching. It doesn't mean you're going to win a lot of games. So as you saw last night in the Pacer game, down the stretch when they needed to get a stop, they couldn't get a stop. Couldn't stop anybody from 3, couldn't stop everybody at the end. If you saw the guys, the Pacers sizing the Cavaliers up, they were all going one-on-one on them. Nobody was scared of anybody. And so that is what has happened in the last 3 games. The way you win in this league is you have to defend people on a consistent basis. You have to be able to shut people down. And if you don't, if you think you're going to win by outscoring people, you may win some games, you won't win the ones that count. That's the problem.
Mike, you're the biggest diehard Cavs fan on the show.
Sure.
What's your thoughts on their last 3 games?
Well, it's been depressing, but I'm not scared right now. I think Brad's right. I think they're a young team trying to find their footing. I don't like the lack of defense over the last few games, but if you heard Bickerstaff after the game, he certainly didn't like it either, and was first of all, it sounds like he just ate a bunch of hot grapple or something. Right? He was very sick or
he
something.
Always talks that way.
But it was way
worse.
It was way worse. But he said that they came out and tried to play Indiana Pacer basketball rather than Cleveland Cavalier basketball, and I thought that was very well put. But I have some concerns about them looking lackadaisical at this point in the season and whatnot, and I don't think they're taking anything for granted. I do think that as with I think like a lot of Clevelanders, we want this to happen and gel sooner than it might be ready to happen and gel. I don't think they're there yet. I think they probably are still a piece away too. I think it's going to be really interesting to see probably. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what Ricky Rubio adds. Once he comes back too, because I think that's something that people aren't considering, and we don't know. I'm not saying it's going to make everything amazing or fix everything, but I think it's an element that it's good. I think it'll definitely be more helpful than anything. It's not going to blow up any chemistry, and I think that he can be very helpful in his role that he was last year. If you remember, that's when I think his leadership is great, but you can only lead so much from the bench, and I think he's got to get out there.
Gee, you panicked at all?
No, I'm not really panicked, but I don't like certain things for young teams. Like, I could understand if it was an older team. And older teams are like, I don't want to play full tilt, defense. I'm tired. I'm resting my legs for the playoffs. For me, the Cavs, prior to this, was the number 1 defensive team in the league, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're the number 1 defensive team in the league, it should seem like that would be a thing that would stick with you. To be that good, that should be something that doesn't waver because you're number 1 at that. And people should be excited about the fact that you see the correlation between that stat and the way you're playing and winning. So when you see a regression in that, it gives me pause a little bit. I've always said this too. The Cavs won't really be a championship contender unless Evan Mobley becomes like, he has to at least be the second best player. Or Mike, if you could get him to be, I'd give me 21 a game, 20 and 10, 20 and 12, 2 blocks. Right now, 14.5, that's okay, right? Those numbers are decent. I would like to see that a little higher. I need to see about 12 rebounds. And if you can get him around 20 points and he's a game changer, there's sometimes that he floats around, and I think JB need to do it like this, like they used to do Kevin Love back in the day when LeBron was here. We coming out, the focus is Mobley. We want to get him open early. We want to get him some lobs. We want to get him some touches, maybe get him free throw line, because now he's involved in the game, and his confidence, when you're a young player, goes up when you're getting touches and you see the ball goes in. Then that unlocks his ability to play defense and his energy level. They need to get him more involved and don't let him to be – him and Allen ain't the same thing. Allen is a guy that can get it on rim runs and garbage stuff. They need to focus on Mobley to get them where they want to go.
That's a great point, G. And there are some other teams around the league, and we'll get to what I texted you in a sec. But the Nets, even with KD, Kyrie, when they had James Harden, ran the first play for Joe Harris every night. It was the most predictable play in the entire NBA. The Joe Harris double screen. The 76ers last year with Embiid, all the guys they had. Seth Curry got the first shot 9 out of 10 games. Getting Mobley going early, especially a designated play where let's run some action for him to be aggressive, it's a really good idea, G.
Darius Garland, by the way, banged up. Chris Fedor said
his hand, right?
His thumb was wrapped in ice after the game. It was swollen. He may miss some time. We'll keep an eye on that, guys.
One more thing, though. I will say last night the Pacers shot. They were ridiculous. They shot. I think they shot like 65% from threes.
61%.
And
you know what I mean?
One of the obviously the way they played defense the last few games is disappointing because that's something that it feels like it's mostly about effort on defense. But the Cavs, as we've said, are a young team, and they've been a little up and down. But the good news is the ups have been much more frequent than the downs. The one thing I am concerned about, like for looking ahead, and Brad, you said they may be 2 players short.
2.
Kevin Love, even at his best, was not a good defender.
He's
now
borderline
he's a major liability on defense. Like when you're playing, like when they're in the playoffs, what are they going to do about Kevin Love?
Well, first of all, you talk about the defensive side of basketball. That's how you win games. There has to be a commitment,
especially in the playoffs.
You've got to be able. You have to commit to that's what I'm going to do, right? And I want to do it every night. You don't have to tell me this is what we're going to do. We got to make a stance. So there's got to be a commitment there. You look out there, everybody's an offensive player, right? You can't get any stops. I'm not sure that Mobley's ever going to be a 22 and 12 guy, right?
Oh, really? This is
I
dig down on that.
Because
why would you know bigs?
Because of the team
or his skill set.
Because I have Garland and Mitchell out front, right? So 14 could easily become 18. If you give me 18 and 10, I'm good. Here's the problem, G. They're 3-man away, right? The 3-man situation got to be resolved, right? I know Karras is trying to come in and give us some points here. We done tried Stevens and everything else. It's okay. You need a 3-man because you need one, again, you need offensive firepower because when one of the 2 out front go down, like when Garland or Mitchell wasn't having a good game, you only left Garland to go for 46, Mitchell get 12, right? You got to have another guy out there that can consistently get you a bucket.
Brad, sorry to cut you off, but don't we know where this is going? The Cavs are going to make the playoffs this year. Maybe they'll win 1 round. Then next year they'll go a little deeper. And then LeBron James can opt out of his contract with the Lakers.
Well, LeBron James can opt out in the summer.
No, he can't opt out this summer because he re-signed.
I thought he had to opt out.
His opt out after next year.
So here's the story.
I know he's going to be 40 by then.
Here's the story because, again, you have to figure out what we have going on here, right? and I'm not one for playing down the road.
Sure,
I'm knocking on the door right now, right? Will you make a move necessary? Because now I saw after the last 3 games, defensively, you got a problem here, right? Who is the person out here that's going to – now, Mobley and Allen, they try to clean it up on the back. Who's the guy out front that's setting the tone, saying this is not what we're doing out here?
Front line pick and roll defense has not been good. And you got to take the challenge at the point of attack.
Right.
You know, you can't be so apt to let a guy blow by you.
Listen, they were sizing people up last here. The guards from Indiana,
Halliburton,
Mathau, they were Hield.
Halliburton is really good.
They were sizing Mikey. They were sizing him up, and they wasn't backing down from anybody. They were like, "Give me the ball, and I'm going right at you because you're not gonna stop me." They put Darius in like a couple of situations on the side. They just blew by him. I was like, dude, we cannot.
The problem is they don't have the assets to trade.
That's my question.
That's the tricky spot.
What do they do to try
and this is the trick to being a great GM in this league.
That's true.
Finding
something here, and it don't have to be you don't have to be an all-star, but you need a presence out here, right? Because right now I don't think there's anybody there holding anybody accountable for on defensive. That's what JB was talking about last night. Oh, so you gonna play how you want to play? You want to play the ESPN type game, huh? You gonna go up and down here? This the and one mixtape game we playing out here. You ain't gonna win nothing, right?
Documentary on and one, by the way, on Netflix right now. I haven't finished it yet.
I haven't seen it.
Real quick, rapid fire before we get to final takes. Is JB the right guy for the Cavs?
Absolutely.
I'll take his word for that.
G?
Yeah.
I agree. I think I don't understand. I've heard there was some people complaining about JB. I mean, come on now.
Really?
I think he's an excellent coach.
Actual scuttlebutt?
No, I think it was just like fans.
Okay.
You know,
Well,
people are prisoner of the moment.
I mean, we had Beeline for 2 seconds.
that was a disaster.
That was
What
hilarious.
was we thinking about?
That was pretty brutal.
All right. Time for final thoughts, guys. Last one of the year, last show of the year. We'll be back on. We'll do overtime, but we'll be back on Monday from home. Who's on? Me, G, and who?
Me, you, G.
I think that's it. That's it, isn't
Just
it?
the 3 of us?
Maybe just 3 of us, yeah.
We'll be on for the first show of the year from Homes, and then back in the studio next Tuesday. Brad, you're up first.
Yeah, so my final take is this. As we close out year 2022, let's end it in peace, right? No silliness over the weekend here. Let's sit back, enjoy the great sports weekend. I got them Terps on today. I got Ohio State football on because I'm going to see a man about a dog before I see a man about a flag, right? That's what's going on here. And then on Sunday, the return of Watson. I'm reveling in what Bull was talking about here. Watson with a big day here on Sunday in the warm weather of the DMV, because you got to calm people. People here, you know, they go to the nth degree here real quick. Oh, the world is sinking. The world is sinking. I like, relax. We already had a tough hand with that suspension being handed down here. And we get into reality. Watson will return after much work is put in. He will return. And in the offseason, what we can hope for as we move into 2023 is that what? The Cavs make a good run here in 2023, make the necessary moves to get better here. And then we get into the summer, you have the Guardians doing their thing again, right? Tito under good management. And then we're going to the fall. And by that time, I hope that the Cleveland Browns have their act together and figure out exactly what they have at their disposal and get out of their own way and stop tripping over their own feet.
Good.
Mike.
If you guys don't mind, I'm going to use my final take to share something from a holiday special that I did for WKYC. This was going to be used last week. I forget why I didn't air it, but it would have made more sense then, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this as a commercial break. Quick commercial break. Let's take a look.
Stepdad Station, Stepdad Station, Stepdad Station, Stepdad Station. Your one-stop shop for last-minute Christmas gifts for the gentleman your mom is with now. Stepdads are always hard to shop for because your relationship is complicated. But at Stepdad Station, we can help because we know what stepdads like. We got all the best stepdad gifts here, such as hot sauce combo packs, beaded seat covers, Ohio State grill brushes, homebrew kits, ZZ Top keychains, and belt clip phone holsters. Located in the old Parmatown Mall in the space where the Babbages used to be, Stepdad Station has everything that stepdads like, such as sausage variety samplers, radar detectors, Ohio Lottery scratchers, Bud Light Lime 6-packs, those little ropes that hold your sunglasses on, Aerosmith's Pandora's Box sets, and these things. It's all right here at Stepdad Station, right in between the T-Mobile store and that place where they sell swords. We have everything. Personalized beer coasters, humorous novelty signs, American Sniper on DVD, camo phone cases, various jerkies, and Harley-Davidson camping chairs.
Damn.
He's dead
Let's
on.
face it, you and your stepdad are probably never going to be on the same page. But you have to get him something this Christmas or it'll make your mom sad. She'd at least like you to make an effort. So whether you're looking for Corona Party Guy type shirts, Bernie Kosar autographed footballs, or black denim Steely Dan hats, it's all here waiting for you at Stepdad Station. Stepdad Station. Stepdad Station. Stepdad Station. Real gifts for fake dads.
So
You was dead on all of those stepdad joints. When you said with that radar detector joint,
yeah,
my
they're always
God.
just a little behind on tech. Stepdads are just a little behind on the tech.
That is
I know a
so
lot of
ghetto.
stepdads.
That's good. That's pretty good, Mike.
Thanks, man.
That's funny,
My
G.
final thought.
Well, my New Year's resolution is this, man. You know, a lot of people don't know. We've been here 6 months. You know, we've
8 months.
8 months. We got the green light to go to, you know, March and continue on and try to, you know, bring the best content we can to you guys. So my job in the next 3 months is to try to, you know, take this thing and give as much effort as I can to make Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show a fixture. And so sometimes you gotta say it. I know a lot of people say, well, you know, don't tell them what was going on. I'm like, listen, that's what telethons is for. I'm trying to tell it. Look, you know, this show is a product of the fans, right? This show will go as far as the fans will take us in their support, and that doesn't have to just be support monetarily in terms of memberships. We would appreciate that, but the support happens where you hit those like buttons. You call people. You reach out to Tegna. You reach out to WKYC and say, look, bro, be heard. Have your voice out there. Say, look, this is the best show out here, man. This is something that's groundbreaking. We appreciate the authenticity. We appreciate the topics they talk about. We appreciate the energy level that they bring. And hopefully, as this thing grows, we grow with the community. You know, we don't want to be a fly-by-night type organization and we just show up and talk sports for about 8 to 6 months and we disappear. We want to make this thing something where you look back and say, remember when the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show was on, man, when it first came on? Look how far it came, or look how much of a fixture it is now on the internet and television. So, you know, we are a product of the people. That's why I got a belt that says the People's Champs, because I understand how proud and how pivotal people are to your success. This isn't just me up here. I look at it as a partnership with us and the community, and so I feel like you guys will take us as far as we go. And if you were willing to, we're willing to put in the work and continue to give you great content on a long-term basis.
Well said, G. And when you see us on the street or wherever, in a supermarket or always say hello. Don't be afraid to say hello. I know I can tell every once in a while, like most people I meet, they'll come up and say hello, but every once in a while I'll see a guy looking at me, and he's thinking, I can tell he's thinking to himself, should I go say hello? You know.
I promise Bo will not laser you.
We good. Say hello. I love when people come up.
Say hello, man.
My wife gets a kick out of it.
I prefer
and
not
we
to be
do
approached.
appreciate. When I went to wrestling the other night, I met some really cool fans, and a couple said, "I miss you on the radio." A lot of times, the older fans have had a hard time transitioning.
Yeah.
So if you're a younger fan, bring them to YouTube. We love what we're doing here, as G just said. We're going to keep doing this as long as they let us. So, you fans are so much a part of it. I want to say one more thing. You know, I've been through a lot, and my family's been through a lot over the last couple of years. We've had a lot going on. Some I've talked about, some I haven't. But I think, you know, life is short in the grand scheme of things. And as I talked about before, keeping things in perspective. You know, I get aggravated about a lot of stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that do. Keep in mind what's important as we celebrate the holidays, as we spend time with our families. Remember what's important. Family, friends. Mm-hmm. These are things that are most important. Sometimes we obsess about nonsense, clothes or social media or our phones. And yeah, these are extra things. But remember, remember, the most important thing is your family, your friends, the people that are important to you, the people that are there for you, that love you. Keep those people as the number one priority. That means more than anything else.
Absolutely.
Everybody, guys, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to
Happy New Year.
Happy
Everybody.
New Year,
Happy New Year, guys.
And
Absolutely.
for those of you who are members of the coaches tier, we got one more bonus content coming up for you next. What are we talking about, Mikey, in the
Our
bonus?
favorite sports memories of 2022.
That's in overtime next. For the rest of you, have a great New Year. G and Mikey McNuggets and I will be on. Jeff back with us?
TBD.
I don't know. On the 2-minute warning show this Sunday for the second to last Browns game. We love you all. We'll see you later. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Peace.